I heartily endorse this event or product.
Ahoy, hoy, everybody, and welcome to Talk to the Audience, where this is always death. I am one of your hosts, Canada's #1 Ella McCay Challenge record holder, Bob Mackey, and who is here with me today, as always?
I also want to move to Palm Springfield, Henry Gilbert.
And yes, this is Talk to the Audience. It's our community podcast. It launches at the end of the month on Patreon, the beginning of the month on the free feed. And in this podcast, we talk about Simpsons news, what's happening in our world, and then we also talk about your questions and comments that were left on the last round of episodes on the Patreon at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. So we're closing out the year this month. There are a few news items, but notably there were a lot of new episodes. 4 to be exact, that we need to speak about today.
Yeah, just weekly ones, and not even a Christmas episode. This wasn't like last year where they had a Christmas two-parter that had to become a Disney Plus original because of Fox scheduling stuff. Like, no Christmas episode this year. Maybe that's an Al Jean thing that's now over. I don't know.
Yeah, he seemed to really like going back to the Christmas specials, and if you didn't see that Christmas one last year, it's very well hidden on Disney Plus. So it could be a new episode for you this year. Actually, I don't know how to find it now. Carolyn Omine was doing a watch through, and the first tweet or the first post about it was instructions on how to actually reach that episode.
I think it's in like season negative. Like, you have to do the season drop-down menu on Disney Plus and then go above season 1 to exclusives. That's how I remember getting it last year. It could have changed. Disney Plus is doing a lot of things. Maybe you have to talk with ChatGTP now to get Disney to do it with their official partner.
Yeah, I don't know why they are hiding this, but think of it as a fun game that you're playing.
I did watch The Family Guy has an original, which is just like, it's the Christmas episode they did this year. It was fine. It was fine. Not that great. Normally, I actually am more complimentary of Family Guy, but it was basically Family Guy doing a Hallmark Christmas movie, recasting the characters and stuff, but it was a lot of lame jokes, honestly.
I'm a little tired of that premise. I think we need to move on.
I think so too. Well, also now everybody does the Hallmark movies. Like, I only know about Netflix's version of the Hallmark Christmas movies because I watched the Trixie and Katya videos about them watching like a dozen of them. And the only key difference I can see in the Netflix ones is that they discovered the gay people watch them. So they always put like one or two token gays in their Christmas specials, which you would never see in a Hallmark one.
And that's why Candace Cameron fled that network.
It's right. She would never take that deal. It would be an affront to her religion, and we need to respect him now more than ever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk about these new episodes. I normally, these are hit or miss with me, but I mostly enjoyed all of these this month. The first one was The Day of the Jack-Up. So in this episode, Mr. Burns builds his own version of the Las Vegas Sphere, known in the episode as the Circulus. And Lisa learns about the realities of modern concert ticket sales when she wants to see a K-pop group perform there. So we get a little bit of Burns up front. We get a little bit of Lisa being a K-pop fan. A lot of it does seem like 50 and 60-year-old writers are like, K-pop? What is this?
One of them had to take their granddaughter to a K-pop show and was confused by it. Not even daughter.
But it's nice to see The Simpsons tackling what is becoming very popular in the West. Although I will say, I mostly enjoyed this episode. This episode does feature extremely heinously bad motion capture CGI that I really hope does not become the norm. It is some of the worst looking things I've ever seen on this show. And when it first popped up, I was like, oh, God, this is awful. I hope it's just an experiment. And then when you watch over the credits, they're like, here's how we made this. And I feel like some producer must be very, very proud of the abomination they put on the screen. Yeah, I cannot possibly convey how bad it is via my English language here. You just need to watch the clips because it looks like essentially Simpsons hit and run character models dancing around on the screen.
I wonder if it was them working with any of like the stuff they got out of Epic to make all the Fortnite things they did with the characters. Like, was it running on Unreal 5? I guess they're up to now.
I just was wondering, I mean, I understand some of these are shortcuts and it's hard to make a television show like this that airs every week for the most part. But cartoons started by making characters dance. Have we forgotten how to draw characters dancing?
I mean, money-wise, probably the director or the animation team was like, you want us to do 3 original songs at the Sphere, like at his parody of the Sphere? So they took a shortcut, a big shortcut that was, yes, incredibly, like, it's also why, like, even in Fortnite, when they're working at the top of their game to make a Simpsons body in 3-dimensional polygonal space, there's just something like Marge and Homer's neck just doesn't look right. And this wasn't as nice as the Fortnite stuff.
It looks shockingly bad, and something tells me we have not seen the end of this, and I'm kind of scared of a future in which The Simpsons is just a mocap show.
Oh, yeah. This will be remembered like how Radioactive Man was the first digital episode, and then 7 seasons later, they go all digital. Will this be the same?
Yeah. I don't want to be all doom and gloom. If I had produced this episode and I saw what came out of it, I would say, okay, that was an experiment. It was a failure. Let's move on and not do this again. But clearly somebody, like I said, thought like, wow, look at what we can do. Let's show everybody how we made it. And it's just like they made it exactly how you think they made it. They put mocap stuff on a few dancers, and then they translated that into CGI characters. It looks really bad. There's a bad CGI audience too.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like The Simpsons is looking more and more like Bob's Burgers, and I don't like where this is going.
Well, and how this is the first of production season 37, so it also just feels like they're trying out new things at the start of the season. It was interesting to see them, well, first, I think all 4, or at least 3 of the 4, their titles are like the 5th time they've done a parody title of this.
Yes.
Like Day of the Jackanapes, it already comes to mind of Day of the Jack Up for this one.
Yeah. I did notice, even though Al Jean is gone, maybe he's still pitching episode titles because these are all things from like the 30s and the 60s and the 70s. Because up next we have Aunt Misbehavin', I guess a parody of Ain't Misbehavin'.
Which already was the Octuplets episode title, was Ain't Misbehaving.
Oh,
so,
okay, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like we should outlaw episode parody titles once they've already been hit. But I mean, when you have 800, you got to go back to some familiar ones. So in this one, Selma becomes the supervisor of the DMV. Patty goes over her head to have Homer declared dead. And what follows is a rift between the twins that sees Patty heading to Palm Springfield and Selma hooking up with a lame new boyfriend played by Stephen Tobolowsky. And in this episode, Patty gets a new haircut, which persists to the next episode. So I would say it's a modern lesbian haircut. That's the best way to describe it.
I liked this episode as a good, like, modern-ish gay episode because I have visited Palm Springs. We have some friends in Palm Springs. And I've said before, the fun thing in Palm Springs is that me in my 40s as a gay bear, I feel young. It's many older people move there. And it's like 90%, in my experience, white, older gay men. But there's a smattering of lesbians there, too, who also are like older retiring lesbians like Patty. And now Patty gets a modern lesbian like side cut, I guess you'd call it, given to her by Julio.
I refuse to believe that Palm Springs is real because Henry did not post one picture of his week there.
I know I posted the pic of me posing under the Marilyn Monroe thing. I didn't go this year. I only went last year. It's well observed, the Palm Springs in this, though. It also is so hot. Patty is right. Why are people who get hot flashes moving to Palm Springs? It's so hot. They have to have their Pride Parade in November because it is too hot to be outside that long for parade in the summer.
I think it's perfect because it encourages shirtlessness.
Oh, sure, yes. And I appreciate that as an attendee. It's also like, not only does Patty separate herself more from Selma, but also at the end of the episode, they now live in separate apartments across the street from each other, but they don't live together anymore either.
Yeah, it's like next door in the same building, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're basically going to be the same, but it was an interesting, no, we wanted to slightly change Patty and Selma once giving them an episode where Julie Kavner had to do a lot of voice work in it as well.
And even though Julie's Marge has her ups and downs, she's aging, I feel like she is just naturally settled into Patty and Selma with her regular speaking voice, so they don't seem off to me, and I love seeing these characters featured. They still got it.
In 2026, I think that's when we'll be covering the Patty coming out episode, which hasn't aged great. So it's nice to see that this feels like a modern queer story for Patty that actually feels, I think, legitimately queer for her.
I think so. And up next, we have the third episode, Guess Who's Coming to Skinner? Obviously, it features Principal Skinner. This is really the 800th episode, by the way. Oh. Don't listen to Fox's lies or Disney's lies. This is the 800th episode produced, period. They're going to celebrate the 800th one in February, but that is not the 800th episode.
Wow, that's an even bigger, it was 3-episode difference for the 300th episode when we covered that one. Like the Tony Hawk one, they make the joke in the episode that it's 303, not 300. But this one, that sounds like it's going to be like a 10 episode or at least 5 to 10 episode difference between 800 and real 800.
Yes, I'm not sure what the story is there, why they want to celebrate another episode. Perhaps whatever one they're celebrating as the 800th has a lot more guests than just Kieran Culkin. Oscar winner Kieran Culkin.
Yeah.
I love that recent movie he was in.
Yeah, the Holocaust tour thing, right? That
Is it
one?
called A Real Pain?
That
A Big
sounds right.
Pain?
I didn't see it. You logged it on Letterboxd. I have not seen it. Yes.
Yes, sorry, it's called A Real Pain, and it is very good.
And Kieran Culkin does a good job. He's a child actor who was like Lisa's age when the show debuted as well, or even maybe younger. We all remember him drinking the Pepsi in Home Alone.
Peeing off screen in the bed.
Actually, I did want to say that in the Day of the Jackups, I did also like that Paget Brewster was in it. I think playing, I've never watched Criminal Minds, but I think it's a play on her Criminal Minds character as the profiler she plays in that episode.
Yeah, we're about to get a Succession parody coming up here soon. I think that's the parody that's coming up around the corner, and I have not seen a frame of that show.
But they already did that Succession parody. The one with John Lithgow and Paul F. Tompkins were in that too. Like they also did, they're going to do a second one? That's crazy.
No, sorry, I'm thinking of something else because these are two shows I always confuse because they begin with the letter S, and a lot of people watch them, and they're on Apple TV. What's the other S show? Severance. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, you can all yell at me. I know the shows have nothing in common, but I always get them confused. It's because my brain is dying.
But it was nice to see a Skinner-focused episode where
Yes.
Harry Shearer was trying, I'd say. I think he was trying.
Yes, I like this one because it's hard to find new stories for these characters, right? And this one is essentially asking, what if Skinner became a dad?
Mm-hmm.
And what if his son was a bad boy like Bart? And I feel like a lot of new things came out of this, even though it had kind of like a funky resolution. I just like seeing a spotlight for Skinner and him out of his comfort zone in this new situation that they really have not done in 40 years.
And they had to like move Agnes out of the house for the episode too with some excuse, right? Because otherwise this story couldn't have happened with Skinner.
Yes, I forget why, but Agnes was out of the picture. So I did like that one.
Yeah.
The next one I was kind of iffy about because they do a change, but then there's not a whole lot of pomp and circumstance behind this change. So it's called Parahormonal Activity, a title that's hard to say. And it ages everybody up around 5 or so years, 5 to 7 or 8 years, just to tell a tale of Marge's perimenopause, Homer's erectile dysfunction, and Bart's internet porn addiction.
Yes.
So I guess it signals the aging up of the characters with a couch gag, but then you're just kind of in that world. We're not exploring, what is the world like in 5 to 7 years? The show is acting as if, okay, this is just a normal Simpsons, but everyone's a little bit older because we can't tell these stories about the characters unless we do this to their age.
Yeah, it feels almost like a pitch of, could this like be multiple episodes? Could we just like live in these stories with these characters? And you see Marge age from, we've talked many times about like what is canonical age of them, but in the couch gag, you see Marge celebrate her 38th birthday up to her 43rd, which, is our age. And I am assuming it makes, because they're both called teenagers, it would make Bart 15 and Lisa 13, I think. So they would both be teenagers 2 years apart. And yeah, I mean, I love the idea that Bart, like all teenagers, is constantly looking at pornography and you just have to pretend you're not seeing it. And there might be some weird Japanese stuff in there that will really confuse you.
Yeah, although they know it's weird to just say Bart watches porn, so they have a very funny euphemism. I think they call it adult online romance content or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And Lindsay Lohan is in this episode, guest star for the first time on The Simpsons, playing Maggie. But again, not a lot of ceremony behind Maggie Can Talk. But here she's just saying 4 or 5 lines, and she doesn't not really have a story outside of being like an excitable little kid.
I really noticed that, though, that when this has always been in the flash forwards that like Maggie will, for example, in Lisa's wedding, she'll almost talk and then be silenced by something and won't talk. They refuse to ever talk. In Lisa's President Future one, Maggie is in outer space as an astronaut and can't talk there either. And in this one, and this is in so many of them, Maggie is about to talk and Marge is like, ooh, no, Maggie, shush, you're laryngitis. You need to rest your voice. And I think you are supposed to think, oh, well, that's why Maggie's not going to talk this episode. And she talks. So I think it felt like a statement to me of, no, forget that old rule. Maggie will talk in flash forwards now.
Yeah, I think that joke didn't get me because for some reason I did see that Lindsay Lohan was going to play Maggie on this one. And I thought, oh, Maggie talks now? Okay, sure.
I did take it as I maybe am forgetting in another future one where Maggie talks, but I feel like they had avoided it up until now for 37 seasons. And with this flash forward having Maggie talk, like a rule has been broken. It also does feel like a I'm Matt Selman and I'm in charge now, and Al Jean can't stop me from having Maggie talk kind of thing. I wonder if it's that. Yeah.
And I think it's also a case of the writers aging, their children aging, but Homer and Marge, they stay in their late 30s forever. Bart and Lisa stay 10 and 8 forever. So this is a chance to talk about their life experiences as they age in real time, which the Simpsons are not doing. So my kids have grown up. Here's what they're into. I've experienced menopause, or my wife has. My penis has stopped working, or I know someone's penis.
Yeah.
I know the owner of a penis that stopped working.
I had not heard about all these specifics with perimenopause. I did like the gag that Marge has very little support for it, but the second Homer's dick stopped working, there's a million medical treatments that are ready to save him and get his dick going again. Homer then also takes, well, not estrogen like he does in a classic season 4 episode.
He overdoses on the male drugs and has to take some of Marge's female drugs to even things out.
Yes. As also, Ned is showing off his buff body and has a new wife who, I can't even remember if they name her in the episode. I forget on that one, but yes. Could this be, oh, and right, you put in there, there was another returning character I totally forgot about.
Oh, right. Completely missed that. Artie Ziff, just to sexually harass Marge. Or actually, not sexually harass Marge because she's worried about aging. And Artie Ziff no longer really finds her attractive anymore.
That gets my award of the month of overly animated scene of the month that I'm going to start naming on these. Like he moves so much.
A lot of head bobs.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Henry.
No, he's moving so much. It's like he's made out of mercury, Artie Ziff. This guy.
Too much. That's not the kind of animation I want to see on the show. But it's nice to hear John Lovitz screaming, as he does every day, waiting for that critic reboot.
One of these days, he'll get that small amount of money that you get for streaming shows these days. I mean, he'll probably be the highest paid actor on it, I'm sure, but still. He's getting a big old pay cut from the ABC days.
It's not broadcast TV anymore. So those are the new episodes. We also have mentions of other new content to talk about. So Disney Plus released an hour-long Simpsons Yule log in the new tradition of IP-based Yule logs, which aren't very good. There's some very, very minor animations that happen throughout, but honestly, I found this very disappointing. And the DVD menus are like a Studio Ghibli movie compared to what you see in this. At a certain point, the stockings fall down, and it feels like someone just clicked and dragged them off the screen. It's very, very cheap looking.
So cheap. Yes, God. The animation for just one of the deleted scene packages on a Simpsons Season 11 DVD has more of a budget than this hour-long Yule log that doesn't even have music. Like, it's just crackling fire, probably free sound effect they got. It's like, and Matt Groening and his team, Matt Selman, they could have come up with something really funny to do with this, but this just feels like somebody rubber stamped, like, you can make a Yule log, who cares?
Yeah, I feel like this was not made by an animation department. This was sent off to like a promotional department to put together or something like that.
It is really cheap. We've seen many a Yule log released by basically every streaming site, but this is on the cheaper side, I have to say.
I will say, though, even though it's an hour long, I did watch some of the Fallout TV show Ghoul Log. It includes an intro with Walton Goggins, and it has a bit of dialogue from the Radio New Vegas DJ played by Wayne Newton, just like in the video game. So that is a series that is out. I really need to start watching. And Henry, if you want to support weekly rollouts, you got to start watching Fallout. It's a weekly rollout. It's everything you wanted.
No, I have.
Oh, good.
I watched the new Fallout. I forgot to actually log it in the notes here, but yes, I watched the season 2 premiere of Fallout, and if a second episode is out, I haven't watched that yet, but I am staying weekly and current with Fallout. It's good. You got to support these small-time shows on little places like Prime Video, or else they'll never make it.
Yeah, I support the weekly rollout. Right now, my wife and I are catching up with Squid Game, the season that launched in the summer. So once that's over, I think we'll get to Fallout. It seems reasonable to just watch one a week. So yes, I don't like these corporate Yule logs. If you go on YouTube, you can find any number of Yule logs, ones that even aired on TV like in the 70s and 80s, custom ones with your favorite music. There is no shortage of Yule logs, and they are all very, very long. Some are just 24-hour Yule log streams. So I appreciate that IP is getting in on this, although I wish they would make it a little more special.
Yeah, I would rather watch the Beavis and Butthead one put so much more effort into their Yule log than the Simpsons one did.
Agreed. So in other news, we have the Simpsons Movie 2 is being delayed from July 23rd, 2027 to September 3rd, 2027. That is the Friday before Labor Day.
And also,
how foolish.
3 days before my birthday. Yeah, they moved it out of summer. I definitely saw a few people mention to me that, like, this seems to indicate Disney has lowered their expectations for it by getting it out of summer and putting it into September.
Will this ruin Henry's 45th birthday?
Yeah, will it be hanging over me the whole time? I hope not. It'll never match my 37th birthday in 2019 when Spider-Man for the PlayStation and Dragon Quest 11 were both released, and I was like playing them back to back all month. That was one of the best releasing things on my birthdays that I can recall.
Well, this is the movie that will accompany you to the wrong side of your 40s, so I hope it's good. I'll already be there, so I'll have no choice.
You'll let me know how it goes. And I want to credit on Blue Sky a reply from the account Slime Siren, who I think figured out a reason it was moved, maybe the main reason. July 23rd of 2027 just got announced as the release date for a Minecraft movie 2. So it could just be they realize that's too stiff a competition and they want to get away from Minecraft.
Yeah, no amount of spider pigs can compete with Chicken Jockey. We've learned this the hard way. Will movie theaters survive a second Chicken Jockey wave of mania? I want to know.
The theaters are dying, but they also want the kids to come in to destroy it with Chicken Jockey. So it's like it's a double-sided blade there for them.
Yeah, we're going to tear this place down anyway, so just go nuts.
As long as you're buying the expensive Chicken Jockey popcorn bucket, you can throw the popcorn inside of it wherever you want.
Mm-hmm. And yes, so we're looking forward to that. And no other news. There's been no reporting as to why there was a delay. We can speculate, but as more news happens, we will report on it. But one movie that wasn't delayed and did come out is Ella McCay. And while audiences don't seem to like it very much, two people do. Marge Simpson and her daughter Lisa, because they were just seen in a promo beaming about the new James L. Brooks movie that Julie Kavner just happens to be in. And that promo features no jokes. It's just two people who love Ella McCay. And even though they are Simpsons characters in a Simpsons world, the actual photograph poster of Ella McCay is behind them. Even though they made a Simpsonized version of that poster for promotion, they thought you were too stupid to realize what Marge and Lisa were seeing.
It's one of the worst promotional things The Simpsons has ever created. It's so bad. I mean, I don't even want to play it for the list. Maybe we could. I don't know. Some might even not realize this happened, because nobody paid attention to anything with Ella McCay, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't live anywhere. You have to search it out, and it's not like on YouTube or anything, but essentially it's just Marge and Lisa, they're leaving Ella McCay. Lisa's like, it's my favorite movie ever. And Marge is telling her, now calm down, Lisa. It was fairly good. And then by the end of the conversation, Marge is like, yes, let's see it again. And they go back in.
They say the last line of the movie, which, yeah. Well, and so, Bob, I'm going to surprise you here. I did go see Ella McCay. I didn't log it in Letterboxd.
You son of a bitch.
I didn't log it in Letterboxd to surprise you on the podcast.
I don't know what was a bigger waste of time, Avatar or that, but you saw this for the podcast, so I respect that decision.
Well, so here's what happened. I listened to the Blank Check about it, and the Blank Check review was also my kind of review of I now will log in Letterboxd now that my surprise on Bob is done. It's a 2.5 star at best, but it is this type of movie never happens anymore. And it was only in theaters really for a week before it swept away. I kind of wanted to see it just to be well, this is the end of something, and I want to be there for it.
I respect that. I mean, while I thought it was a much better movie than what I assume Ella McCay is, I'm going to be an ignorant fool and just assume it's not as good. I did really like Juror Number 2 for the same reason. They don't make this kind of movie anymore. This is Clint Eastwood at the end of his career. I want to go and support this. And then it ended up being very good. Yeah,
Ella McCay feels like 5 movies that got cut down into one movie. And it is so weird. The flashbacks. It does something that Mystery Science Theater does or made fun of. I think it was Future War or Laser Blast. They would have a flashback and then they'd say the present, but then they'd flashback again. This is well, that's right. It's 2008. But then things really happened when she was 16. I was like, wait, I'm already getting used to this being set in 2008. Now it's 8 years before or 16 years before that. What? It's so confusing.
Yeah, I did hear the Blank Check podcast about it. It sounds like a movie I would not really enjoy, although I got the gist of what it was trying to do, what it was trying to say. It does feel like James L. Brooks is in touch, but also wildly out of touch in many different ways, which if you're an 85 man and you can ever be in touch in any small way, that is a victory.
And I also say this to say I slightly forgive that promotional short because Ella McCay is who James L. Brooks thinks Lisa would grow up to be. She is a 2008 Lisa. I in the Selman years that I think Lisa is written more to the left, but the Ella McCay is pre-Obama liberal processes austerity Lisa, who would be like, there's a bit where Ella McCay complains like that, one, she did not want to legalize pot in 2008. She ran heavily against it. She wants to only create programs that businesses can buy into so it doesn't create things for taxpayers. She gets mad at a police officer only because he illegally uses his overtime, which will waste taxpayer dollars in a recession. Like, she's a bummer. She is bummer Lisa is kind of her thing.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It sounds like that was, I'm not sure if it was in his intent, but the direction he naturally went with writing a character like that.
She's very much what I think Brooks thinks of Lisa. And again, I'll say the dad stuff in it, shitty dad stuff in it, and her getting used to shitty dad and childhood trauma stuff with that, it still did kind of get me. Like the last scene she has with Woody Harrelson, I really liked. And I was like, why wasn't this the movie? Why did this have to be about like a governor in an unnamed state? Why couldn't it just be a family drama with none of this governor bullshit?
It does sound very much like Springfield in that you don't know where Ella McCay is.
Yes, yeah. And also and one other thing, Simpsons related, Julie Kavner is in it, and she is very limitedly used. She's the narrator for no reason. But what's really strange is I think these were filmed like 3 years apart, or at least 2 years apart. She looks in bad shape in the older footage, like she's a little heavier than she normally is. She's moving slow. And then in the stuff that seemingly was filmed in the last 6 months for a new ending, she looks much better. And like she's lost weight and seems to be like doing better health-wise. So it was interesting too.
I remember from the Blank Check podcast, Griffin said he got a script of Ella McCay years before it came out. It was shot a long time ago. And I guess the Julie Kavner narrator stuff, those were reshoots.
Yeah,
where
I think so
she came
too.
in later to appear in person as the narrator.
Yeah, you can really tell that, like, I can't say which definitely was filmed before the other, but they are Julie Kavner at two very different times in her life. Like, she looks quite different when she is the office assistant for her as governor versus there's a slight time skip for the epilogue, and Julie Kavner looks very different in the epilogue. And my assumption is that the epilogue was filmed most recently. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that Julie Kavner recently lost her husband of like 40 years. So I feel like maybe she was going through some stuff that affected her mental health, physical appearance, and maybe with the reshoots, she's better shape.
Yeah, it made me happy that she seems to be doing better, you know, and that it at least makes her and Jim Brooks happy to be doing stuff together. So I'm happy for them in that way. And I have yet to see How Do You Know is the only Brooks film I haven't seen at this point now, and I'm scared to, but apparently it's definitely better than How Do You Know, I've heard.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. So that was a real Ella McCay jump scare from Henry. Was not expecting that.
Sorry, yes. I was like, you know what, it'll be fun. As I was about to log it, I was like, you know what, it'll be fun to surprise Bob with this on the podcast. So,
What if I told you that tossing and turning all night and waking up sore could be the result of sleeping on the wrong pillow? Sounds too good to be true? Hear me out. Coop Sleep Goods pillows are designed for every type of sleeper. Side, back, stomach, and everything in between. They adjust to how you sleep, keeping you supported and comfortable all night. And right now, new customers get 20% off site-wide. From new parents navigating sleep schedules to wellness-minded sleepers focused on recovery to grandparents exploring new hobbies, Coop helps everyone sleep better and wake up actually feeling refreshed. There's a lot waiting for you tomorrow. Let Coop help you show up feeling rejuvenated and ready to go. Get 20% off your first order and try Coop risk-free with the 100-night sleep better guarantee at coopsleepgoods.com/comedy podcast. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedy podcast.
Also, James L. Brooks news, he got a star on the Walk of Fame. Like, apparently no Simpsons people were there, Simpsons producers or voice actors or writers. And to promote the movie, Brooks did a Reddit AMA. And by the way, I thought this was fake. I was seeing screen captures from this because James L. Brooks writes in all caps. I assume because he's 85 years old and can't see. So he's like, here come the big letters.
I have heard he lies about his age too, and that he's older than what the public knows about him. His AMA, the only Simpsons-related questions, seemingly it shows that the last Simpsons he remembers was season 2 or season 3, I think, of it. He's asked, like, what's your favorite episode? He names Lisa's Substitute, and the only specific he has on it is his experience of recording Yardley Smith with Dustin Hoffman in person in New York, which he did direct. Like, so that's no wonder he remembers it. And he also said he loves all the characters, but Lisa is his favorite, and not surprising because Ella McCay is Lisa. Like, she's very similar.
Yeah, I was looking over this AMA, and it's clear that at some point James L. Brooks is writing things, but at another point it sounds like an assistant might be taking his dictation, because with the James L. Brooks responses, it's like your grandpa is emailing you.
Yes. And then an assistant took over and pressed cap lock off and started
Yes.
replying from dictation.
Very cute. But yes, you know what? Even though Ella McCay is not for me, and I don't like how they're using The Simpsons as a promotional tool, which is why Disney bought the damn characters, good for James L. Brooks. He deserves a win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge flop. It didn't do good in theaters, but who cares? Like, these movies never come out in theaters anymore. It's sad they don't. Like, I think Brooks also, like, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, not one Simpsons person I saw there. It was mainly Taxi cast members there.
The surviving cast of Taxi.
Well, actually, I guess when I say Taxi cast members, I think I just mean Danny DeVito and the woman who never forgets things, and I'm forgetting
Mary Lou
her name.
Henner.
Mary Lou Henner, yes, yeah. She'll never forget that day. And then
Where was Tony Danza? The country wants to know.
I don't know. I did. Woody Harrelson and Jamie Lee Curtis were there. Oh yeah, and in that AMA, somebody asked him, like, why did you cast Emma Mackey as Ella McCay? And he's like, I got attached to the name, and when we cast her, I didn't want to change it. That's all.
Listen, yeah, when you're old, you can only remember so many names, right?
Yes. Yeah. His Conan O'Brien interview I was listening to, it's kind of fun. Brooks is very sharp for a man in his late 80s, I would say. And his only memories of Conan are of, like, Conan pitching. We get to hear the Conan and Brooks experience of the story Al Jean and Conan related of. Conan pitches 3 episodes in the same day and all get bought by James L. Brooks, which apparently never happened again at the pitch meetings.
And then he immediately leaves.
Yeah, he goes, my job is done. Time to work on I'll Do Anything, my sure-to-be hit follow-up to broadcast news.
And Conan is off to be on a talk show for 30 years.
Yes, yeah. Meanwhile, Al Jean, they can't get rid of him.
Nope. He's still, he's asking if he can sweep up after a writer's room session. He's bringing donuts every morning.
He had wrapped up on The Critic, but they still can't get him out of there.
So let's move on to our news. And I know everyone's been looking forward to this. We're proud to announce that we're kicking off January with Listener Catch-Up Week. So that means we are taking the first full week of January off on the Patreon and the second full week of January off on the free feed because of the way our content is staggered. So it's not the first week you'll see on the calendar, it's the first full week. So first full week on Patreon, second full week on the free feed. And that is the week of the 4th on Patreon, the week of the 11th on the free feed. And as usual, we are posting bonuses to both the Patreon and the free feeds. If you're in the free feeds, you will get some things you've never heard before that are behind the paywall. And if you're a $5 patron, you will get something that is behind the $10 paywall. If you're on the $10 paywall, we just say thank you.
And
we'll do a little dance for you if you call us up on Zoom.
This has become a tradition for us. Our listeners are used to it now. We take the start of the year off after a long December. I wasn't trying to make a reference there. And it's easy to believe that we are taking the time off after that long December. I think people are going to enjoy hearing the What a Cartoon Movie and the mini-series that were posted on that week. And as you call it, Coin Bob, Listener Catch-Up Week, it's often because when we take those weeks off, we have seen comments from people saying, good, I can finally listen to the last 2 movies I haven't had time for yet.
Thank God you guys shut up for once.
I can finally hear you
peace.
guys talk about Totoro and Pee-wee this month.
Yeah, I mean, behind the curtain, we had some major catching up to do because of sicknesses and travel and injuries. So December was really, really, really packed. And it's great to have that week of no content to get ahead of things even more. So we appreciate your patience. And please catch up, we implore you. There's no way you're ahead on everything. It's impossible.
And we're going to take a nice little week to ourselves of not recording things into the new year after today. Today is our own little personal break that is not related to travel, injury, or illness.
Yes. Thank God. So there will be no What a Cartoon in January. We'll be back in February covering a new show. More about that later. Let's talk about our mini-series that are available if you're a patron at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. We have the Talking Futurama episode Newtopia, which is an early 2010s look at gender. No, don't go anywhere. Wait, I can explain. It's perfectly fine. Actually, I know a lot of people hate this episode. We found it dated in an okay way, but also still very funny. So I'm looking forward to chat about that and seeing what people think about Newtopia as we are a lot more informed about topics when it comes to gender.
Yeah. For a 2011 episode, I think pretty all right on that topic. And I say that as a cis man, of course.
Yes, so, we have to say that when we disclose any information.
Yes.
I like Pee Wee Herman, and I say that as a cis man. My favorite RPG is Earthbound, a cis man opinion, I know.
Editors have to cut it out at a certain point, but I try to ask them to keep it in.
So, yes, Newtopia is our discussion for Talking Futurama that week, and then that month, rather. And then we're moving on to Talking of the Hill, the episode Hanky Panky. If you don't know what that is, It is the first part of a two-part murder mystery on King of the Hill, one of the best two-parters they've ever done. I'm really looking forward to getting into this as someone who really enjoys mysteries and really loves this particular selection of episodes. So look forward to that in January.
Yeah, it's a great two-parter, and their first two-parter that wasn't a cliffhanger for the season. It's like a mid-season two-parter. It's an interesting, wrap-up of a long-running storyline since, season 1 of King of the Hill.
And for What a Cartoon Movie, for our $10 and up patrons, we are covering Sleeping Beauty because January is always the time when we cover a classic Disney film. We've covered things like Pinocchio and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Dumbo. This is another classic that, frankly, I have never seen because another sleeping princess. What? I got Snow White here, buddy. Write a new story, why don't you? I'm going to find out what this movie's about. I know Maleficent's floating around. There's a dragon. There's some fairies. It's going to be a blast. And it's really pretty.
Oh, gorgeous Mary Blair looking movie, and I think full of classical music that once I later heard it, I was like, oh, I thought I Know You. I thought that song was original for Sleeping Beauty, not like an ancient opera.
No, I love Tchaikovsky. I just saw The Nutcracker. I'll talk about that later, but this movie is full of Tchaikovsky.
I'm looking forward to learning about it too. It's been a good while since I've watched it in full.
And that song you were singing, Henry, that is the Sleeping Beauty Waltz. He was a big Sleeping Beauty fan himself.
That's nice. Okay, thank you for telling me it was Tchaikovsky. I was like, man, it was one of those old guys. I don't know, Bach.
Listen,
whatever.
Bob Mackie is a guy who loves waltzes. That's a secret about me. I love waltzes. I don't know how to waltz, but they're just so pretty, and I've got a big collection of them on the old hard drive. So if you want to talk waltzes, I can keep up a conversation for about 5 minutes. Waltzes and polka.
It's a month of murder mysteries and waltzes. If only Newtopia had, if you were into the Star Trek episode it's parodying, then you would cover all of the Bob bases.
That's true. It's going to be a good month regardless. So let's talk about what we've been playing and watching that's not necessarily related to what we're covering on the shows. And just a few games for me as I close out the year. I finally started Death Stranding, the first one, not the second one that came out this year. I had a rough time with it initially because I was playing it on a PS4 Pro, and every time I loaded up the game, it sounded like my PS4 Pro was about to launch off into outer space. So that was very distracting. It was also at a time I was traveling a lot to see my then fiance, now wife, so it was not a really great time to play an open world game. But now I've been able to sit with it for 25 hours. I'm having a really great time. And to be fair, the first 3 to 4 hours of the game are extremely rough. They make you think like the game will be this adversarial the entire time. But if you play just a little more beyond that, you get access to a number of tools and vehicles and other items that will really help you trudge around with a bunch of crap strapped to you. And I'm having a lot of fun with this. I feel like I'm going to spend a very long time with it because I'm very obsessed with leveling up all of the delivery bases and getting all the special gifts they give you and working on my delivery rating and all that stuff. But yeah, I will get around to playing the second one when it comes out for PC. For now, I'm having a great time, and the director's cut looks really gorgeous on my gaming PC. It's a spectacular looking game as well.
I could see in 2019 a story about being distant from people and having no physical contact with them and only talking through screens was hard for you in a long distance relationship.
Yes, but then 2020 happened. I had time for Death Stranding, but then it's like, well, Death Stranding is just going to remind me of me going to Trader Joe's every 3 days and hauling home 80 pounds of garbage.
Man, that feeling, I became a Death Stranding fan this year, like big fan. I also finished Director's Cut and then 3 months later just plowed through Death Stranding 2. So I love Death Stranding this year. And it was this crazy feeling of like that adversarial gameplay of the first few hours. I was so close to bouncing, and then it felt like how when you get to the peak of a mountain in the game, but also in real life when you're hiking and you're like, whoo, I made it. Oh, this is wonderful. I feel awesome. Like I was like, Kojima, you did it. But you crazy bastard, you did it.
Never count him out. Yeah, I feel, as a Kojima fan for the most part, I felt bad that I missed this, or at least I gave it a try and I bounced off. And then this year, you probably heard it on Talk to the Audience, I played through Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 again. And I thought, man, I should get around to playing Death Stranding. I love his game so much, and I love this one too. So looking forward to the director's cut of 2, whatever form it takes when they re-release it for other platforms. I also replayed Super Mario Galaxy, the first one, because Nintendo remade it again, this time in a good way. It's in 4K, it's in 60 frames per second. I was playing it on my Switch too. And Henry and I were on a podcast about Mario Galaxy on Retronauts probably like 5 to 7 years ago, so we talked a lot about it on there. But yes, a fantastic game, well worth revisiting. It does not feel like an 18-year-old game. And frankly, I would love to see Nintendo make a Mario Galaxy 3 because I love Odyssey. Got a lot of fun out of Odyssey, but when I go back to Odyssey, playing it is kind of tedious because you have to like check a map and you have to like search for the objectives and search for the content. I like the very, very direct approach of Mario Galaxy. It's sort of like the anti-open world Mario, but in a 3D environment. So maybe we're getting a Mario Galaxy movie next year that could inspire the production of another game in that style. Who knows? But I had so much fun with it, playing it over again. I think this is the third time maybe I played through it. I love that game.
I skipped this one because I was kind of underwhelmed by the 3D All-Stars remake and didn't give this a chance. Your endorsement makes me want to pull it back out. I love Galaxy and Galaxy 2. Galaxy 2 is one of my favorite like gaming review experiences back when I was a game reviewer. Like it was, every second was fun, and I also felt like I was fighting upstream in my office because everybody, and these are also great games, Red Dead Redemption and Mass Effect 2. I think Mass Effect 2 is amazing. But I still felt like I was fighting upstream to be like, guys, Mario Galaxy 2 is like the best game to play. Like it is the gamiest game this year. Everybody should be talking about it.
Yeah, I also grabbed that one, and I'm looking forward to playing that again because I've only played it once, and it was at a very bad time in my life. So now that I'm much happier and more comfortable and willing to go back to these games that I barely remember, I'm looking forward to going back to that. So that's just it. And I don't know, Henry, you brought this up earlier. We could talk about notable games we played this year. For the record, I'm very proud of myself for spending this much time on games. I have now finished 62 video games this year. Now, before you judge me, keep in mind, I also host a video game podcast. It's very important. But also, I made it my goal to play more games this year, many different kinds of games, especially shorter games. So I would say a good like 25 of the games on my games I finished list are 3 hours and under. Some are like 90 minutes, and I love those experiences too. So you can easily play that many games if you also seek out shorter ones. And I feel like I did not play any big 100-hour games this year. So that's why I had time so many other games, a lot of DLC and things like that, and also catching up with like older things I haven't gotten around to playing yet. So even though I played 62 games in 2025, I feel like 10 of those were from the year 2025.
You had mentioned that to me before we recorded, and yeah, when I was trying to think of my own, I made a list of the games that I rolled credits on this year that were released in the year 2025. And for me, it's only 11 games, but like half of them are games I played for over 50 hours or close to it, like Hades 2, Death Stranding 2, the Assassin's Creed Shadows. I completely forgot about Assassin's Creed Shadows. But then a couple were pretty short, like to a T. I was like, oh, right, I beat that game, didn't I?
Well, you're saying this is a good game to mention, or?
It's one of 10 games. It certainly is one of 10 games that I beat.
To a T, Stinkeroonie. I got to say, I'm really sad it didn't work out for Keita Takahashi, but I'm also very sad that game came out so poorly because people I really like are involved in it, and it just was broken and a mess, and I feel people that played it and liked it played like a chapter and were like, well, this is great, so imaginative, but I dare you to play through the entire thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I loved hearing Rebecca Sugar's song over and over again. That was great, but yeah, I kept waiting for the game to kick into gear. I was like, so this, and then when it ends, I'm like, wait, no, I thought you were just beginning. It's over? Like, it also just feels like a guy running away from like a half-finished project. He's like, oh yeah, I wash the dishes, runs away, dishes are half clean. Like, yeah.
No, there's still pizza stuck on this to a T. Get back here.
For me, my top three it was Death Stranding 2, and I think I'm going to say Death Stranding 2 is my number one, and then probably Hades 2 is second, but I'd put it between those two, kind of flip-flop for me. I loved both of them so much. And then Donkey Kong Bonanza right behind them. Like, those are my top three for the year.
Yeah, I wrote down 5, and I guess I have no real order. These are just like non-obvious ones I wanted to call out. While I enjoyed things like Donkey Kong Bonanza, I wanted to call out some ones that people might have missed, although that would be like in my top 3 if I were to include it. So I would call out The 100 Line Last Defense Academy as a really great game I played this year. I'm glad it was a success. The creators have said this is probably going to be the largest video game project that did not use AI. The last one that never used AI. That's their stance on it. It's like, please enjoy this while it lasts, because this is the last game with this much human involvement you'll ever play in terms of sheer writing.
Oh, that's a depressing thought. Oh, boy.
Also, something people might have missed is the Starcross World DLC for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. My favorite Kirby game of, I guess, 21st century was Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And the Starcross DLC was so good. It's just a reworking of a bunch of existing levels, but The gameplay is so great. They add enough twists. They add enough new geometry. It's like 3 to 5 hours. Some people thought it was a little too brief. I really just loved going back into that world and also getting the Switch 2 upgrade and seeing everything shine in 4K and 60 FPS. That game is so good. Looking forward to whatever the next Kirby game is going to be because we're coming up on the fourth year this has been out. This is a 2022 game.
Well, Bob, we must have both played Kirby Air Riders to death, right? No.
No. I tried the demo and I thought, well, God be with you, Sakurai.
Yeah. I downloaded that but haven't played. I loved Forgotten Land as well when it came out. It is also, I think it is my favorite modern Kirby game. It's like The Last of Us, but also he bores a car. It's perfect. Mike Mitchell, who I hooked up with a Nintendo Switch to, he was mentioning to me in a text, man, there's nothing to play after I beat Donkey Kong. And I keep telling him, get this game. You will love this game. He loves Mario Odyssey and other Nintendo platformers. I'm like, this is awesome. You should play this.
Did you hear back from him?
I still don't think he has got it yet, unfortunately. I'm going to have to send him
Somebody
more text.
sent it to the set of Twisted Metal.
I think I'm going to have to just gift it to him and be like, look, here's the code, all right? Play it, please.
And one more game I'll mention. It's a big game. Again, I love Bonanza. I love some of the bigger games from this year. This is also a big game, but I feel like maybe not getting enough attention. That's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And it recently got DLC. I've heard news of sequels coming or a sequel coming, but it is the best Indiana Jones game. Troy Baker is a madman for being able to emulate Harrison Ford's voice so perfectly. This is a real-ass video game. This is an immersive sim. You are not just shooting everybody with a gun. You are Indiana Jones in environments. You have to figure out a way around people, solve puzzles, and it is a 25 to 30-hour game. It's very intense and very dense in terms of all the things you can do in every level. I really had a great time with it, and it came out super late last year, which is why I think it got snubbed at the Keeleys.
Yes. It got really sizable DLC this year, right? So that...
Just one extra level, which actually I hear is not that great, but
okay.
I eventually want to get around to playing it. But yeah, I love Indiana Jones, and this is the perfect game for that kind of character and the kind of adventures he usually goes in for. So yeah, I know probably sold a lot, but maybe you missed it because it came out so late last year. I think it released December 9th or something.
Oh yeah, it was very late, and it was also a Game Pass game, which I think made it be less known because people don't pay attention to those as much.
That Game Pass is the devil.
Yes, it is. I look forward to a day I won't have it anymore.
You could just stop using it now.
I barely do use it.
Tear up your Game Pass, Henry. Do it on camera.
Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. The one game I beat this month was a Game Pass game, but it's because
hypocrisy on Talking Simpsons.
Yes, I know. I copped to it immediately, guys. Another... Fuck, that was a Game Pass game too, wasn't it? Claire Obscure. Well, I did really like that, but I wanted to say that it got me to play Final Fantasy X for the first time because my husband was like, all right, it's thematically very similar. I did really enjoy playing. I did it on Steam so I could, go at triple speed during some long sequences of it.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I thought they included that in all the remastered versions of FF.
Not on Switch.
Okay.
It's only in Steam or other PC versions do they have those shortcuts of triple speed. Believe me, my husband looked into this and he told me, because I said, can I play this on Switch or Xbox? He's like, well, not if you want to do it at triple speed to run through long dungeons. So it was great. I liked it. Claire Obscure was perfectly fine. I did really like it, but Final Fantasy X I liked more.
Cool. I forgot you finished that game. So I guess that's our 2025 games chat. So please check out those games. If you haven't, they're really good. And as far as watching stuff, I can name a few holiday things. One movie completely new to me because I've kind of seen every Christmas movie I want to see. So I was just typing in, weird Christmas movies, and I found a French movie called The Dial Code Santa Claus. It came out 1 year before Home Alone. It is essentially like an R-rated Die Hard version of Home Alone, but seemingly still for kids.
Huh.
And the premise is a kid and his elderly grandfather live in a mansion, and essentially an escaped mental patient tries to enter the house as Santa Claus. And the violence that happens is more than just a swinging paint can. Let's just say that. It gets pretty gruesome, but in a very, very fun way. This movie will shock and surprise you. But again, seemingly still made for little French children to enjoy. But it is called Dial Code Santa Claus. I don't want to give anything away, but I've been spreading the word about this movie since I saw it. And then as soon as I logged it on Letterboxd, Andrew Jupin from We Hate Movies was like, glad you found this. It's such a great movie.
Oh, nice. Man, well, if it comes to the We Hate Movies approval, that's as strong as a Bob approval. I'd never heard of this movie before Nina logged it, I don't think.
Yes, if you are having a holiday get together and like, oh, we've seen Elf, we've seen A Christmas Story, throw on Dial Code Santa Claus, find a copy of it, throw it on, and people will be shocked. They'll be rolling on the floor laughing. It really surprised the hell out of me as someone who enjoys movies like this, but I feel like I've kind of seen it all. It will really shock you. And I also went back to some old favorites like the Muppet Special, The Christmas Toy. Now, Henry, I think you're familiar with this one, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It traumatized me as a kid, for sure.
It made me think about death. Essentially, it's nowhere near as popular as Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and I understand why. It's creepy. It tells you that there is no afterlife. It lets you know that toys die and it's your fault.
Yes.
But there's only like 700 reviews of this on Letterboxd, which surprised me. But it really feels like, and I think this is just lateral thinking, I don't think there's any foul play here. This feels like the prototype for Toy Story. Like, what do toys do when we're not around? And lots of things have done this, but here it's more like we're going to build some lore, some mythology. And the big thing in this that adds a lot of tension is if a toy is spotted where it shouldn't be, if a toy is spotted moving, it essentially dies. We see toy death. And then when we hear a toy that comes back from the other side, we learn that toy death, whatever waits for you at the other end, it's just darkness and coldness. There is no toy heaven. There is no toy hell. You are just in toy limbo for the rest of your life. It's spooky.
Well, and also the Toy Story connection, too, is like Rigby, right? That's the main character. He thinks he is about to be replaced as the favorite toy by a space toy, like a fancy new space toy, too.
Yeah, and the new toy, which is kind of like a She-Ra kind of character, thinks that she is the character. So there's a lot of lateral thinking here, but it's only 48 minutes. There's some pretty fun songs. It's way darker than you would expect it to be, and it has essentially Dave Goelz and Steve Whitmire playing a duo. And I think that was the beginning of their, like, let's be Gonzo and Rizzo together kind of partnership. And so they really play off each other well.
Yeah, as a kid, it definitely spooked me of like, occasionally people have these things like, oh no, what if Toy Story is real? I have to become a hoarder thoughts. But I even have one of those more thoughts of just like, as a little kid, did I kill this toy by walking in the room and seeing them where they're not supposed to be? Was I an unknowing toy murderer?
You sent your toys to limbo, and we're all guilty. There's blood on all of our hands. So, Christmas Toy.
Oh, the song too. I love Old Friends, New Friends. Yes. Love that song.
It's used in like a bunch of Muppet things.
Well, I bet it's because Jim Henson was like, that song was great and nobody watched the Christmas Toy, so I'll just reuse it in other stuff. Kermit can start singing it now. I
don't blame him. And other movies I've seen, well, they're kind of obscure. You might have to torrent these, but they're called Star Wars. Yes, I am revisiting the original trilogy, but not in the way you would expect. So that's why I want to talk about this, because recently I learned all about the Star Wars Project 4K77 and Star Wars Project 4K80. And what these are, I believe they are original film prints of Star Wars. People found like these first run prints. They fully restored them. They cleaned them up. A ton of work went into these. But these are the best way to see the movies in their original forms, which I heartily recommend. I don't even consider myself a Star Wars fan. I rate these movies highly. But it's great to see them as they were meant to be seen. They seem like movies released in the year they were released in. There was no CGI. And then you forget about all of the things that were added and cut when it comes to these movies. And honestly, I had only seen Star Wars on VHS before the special editions. I had never seen non-special Empire Strikes Back or non-special Jedi. I'm getting to non-special Jedi soon, but so far I've watched 4K77 and 4K80. If you want to watch Star Wars again, look for these. Fuck Disney Plus. Screw the special editions. This is where you need to go. And it's a real damn shame that fans have to do this, and we cannot have these versions of the films.
Well, it started with George Lucas not wanting you to see it, and then Disney didn't want you to see it, though Disney says they're going to put out their own Star Wars Unaltered in 2027 for the 50th anniversary. I really wonder if it will be truly as unaltered, but you don't need them to do that thanks to the dedicated fans who did 4K77 and 4K80. I was not aware of 4K80. I had heard of 4K77, and because Empire is my favorite. Star Wars is a perfect film too, but Empire is my favorite of the all Star Wars movies. I would love to see how that looks in its unaltered form.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I love Empire, but I rate the original movie just a hair above Empire because it's a complete story. It's like why I like Fellowship of the Ring the most, because it's everybody is together and we're all a team together. And then Empire's like, no, we're splitting apart and we're cutting back and forth. I love when they're all together.
But Darth Vader is the best in Empire. He's so sassy. He's so, I would love if you would join us for dinner. Like, he's such a dick. Like, pray I don't change it further. It's my favorite lightsaber duel. It's daddy issues on display. I love every part of it.
Yeah, I do really respect that movie. Now I'm going to finally see Return of the Jedi with Yub Nub, with all the funky puppets. I've never seen that version of the film before, so I'm really looking forward to the way it was meant to be seen. So seek these out. They are not hard to find. If you're online, you can download a podcast. You can find these movies. They're not hard to find.
You've upset me all over again thinking about the erasure of Yub Nub and how I was feeling in the movie theaters in 1997, hearing the sound go away on Yub Nub and a new song coming in. I was like, what the fuck? Where's Yub Nub? I was fucking 6 when I heard Yub Nub, and I loved that song. It was made for kids, and I was a kid.
I just know they're going to erase that disgusting Muppet CGI thing that like licks the screen. Don't like that.
You'll get the proper crummy Cy Snoodles puppet singing Lopty Neck. You'll hear the real song you're supposed to hear.
In terms of TV, I did want to mention a new anime I've been watching. It is on Amazon Prime. It was recommended to me by a few people. It is called Sanda. And essentially, it is by the creator of the anime Beastars, so it features her what I feel are very expressive, very unique character designs. But the premise of this one is, it is a boy in school, and his secret is that he is Santa Claus. He can transform into Santa Claus. And the entire series is exploring the powers of Santa Claus, how they manifest in him. And of course, because this is an anime, there are people out to kill Santa Claus, and we have to find out why this is happening. So Sanda, very, very good. The animation is great.
Yeah.
And it's a premise that I've never, ever seen before in an anime series. And I just like seeing the Santa Claus mythology explored through like a regular school/fighting anime series.
I did see a trailer for this. Now I'm remembering of like the action in it looked incredible. I'm giving this a watch. This is on my watch list now.
And something Henry knows about One Piece, because I like to watch One Piece at the gym because I can get through 3 episodes in an hour. And then once I'm done with an arc, I'll go and read the manga. And I do chip away at One Piece. I was not the binger that Henry was, because I get kind of bored with it and have to like return to it every once in a while. So I take like 18 months off between One Piece visitations. But currently, I just got through the Amazon Lily arc, which I really enjoyed. I didn't think I would really get a lot out of it, but I kind of underestimate new arcs when they start and end up loving them by the time they're done. And we're all heading towards the possible execution of his brother. So I'm looking forward to seeing that happen and the time skip and everything. So I'm back on the One Piece.
That's a long road, or it felt like a long road then. Now I realize that's just the typical like 5-year arc that most major arcs are in the One Piece world. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking that is right, the name of that arc, but I always think of it as like just one part of a bigger arc. So when you said the name, it was like, wait, which arc was that? Now I know where you're at.
Yeah, I think it's like a sub arc of a major arc, depending on how you break them down. But yeah, I like watching the anime. I know it has problems, but when you're on an elliptical machine and you're sweating and panting, cranking up the resistance, you want something that doesn't move fast and just keeps you in place.
You want to get to be as strong as Zoro when you watch it.
That's my plan. So yes, I just want to let everyone know I'm still watching One Piece very, very slowly. Now, a rare instance of Book Corner. Okay, so folks, I'm not a dum-dum. I have played 62 video games this year. I'm well on my way to reading 50 books. That is my Goodreads goal. And I did want to call this one out because it's a very long book that kind of threw me off my reading progress, but it's very good. It's called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. It is a newish mystery novel with a very interesting premise. And whether or not you like this premise will determine whether or not you'll read the book. The premise is somebody has to solve a murder, and every day they wake up in a different person's body to play out the same day. And they have 8 days in 8 different bodies to go through in order to solve this murder. And that is the premise. But there are more rules stacked on top of that. These rules like are rolled out progressively, and like this keeps your attention for over 500 pages. And I will say, despite all of the people, all of the different personas, and all the different bodies the main character jumps into, the author never makes you get lost in any way. They're always like holding your hand in a non-patronizing way, and I found this like extremely readable. I was intimidated to read this because it's very big, and it seems like, well, if I step away for a day, will I forget things that are happening, or well, the mystery not be as good because I'll forget, like, oh, on day 3, he was this character and he did this. No, it is extremely, extremely readable, and I really recommend it.
Premise-wise, to me, it sounds a little like the Nonari games that you enjoy so much, like about different perspectives of a mystery kind of thing, or reliving stuff.
It does kind of feel like a Japanese adventure game, but I was reading interviews with the author, Stuart Turton, and he was inspired by Quantum Leap, of all things.
Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. That sounds interesting. I'm not going to pretend that I'll read it, but when it gets adapted into something, I'll probably give it a watch.
Yes, this would make a great like Netflix show, with every episode being a new person that he jumps into. 8 episodes, 8 different people. But yeah, it's called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Check it out if you like mysteries or just want a book with a really wild premise that it completely sticks the landing. Like, I was very, very impressed by this book. So, rare book corner. And if you want to know more about what I'm reading, I don't like to bore anyone here with that stuff, except if it's a standout book like this. Check out my Goodreads account. I am Bob Servo on Goodreads. And you can see what I'm up to there. Mostly really old mystery novels. So whenever I mention those on Blue Sky, I get no response, so I know nobody cares. But if you get murdered, I'm going to be on the case.
And you'll be happy. Well, your family will be happy that Bob knows so much. Yeah.
You personally won't care. And other stuff, I saw the Nutcracker Ballet for the first time. I love the music, of course. It's great Christmas music. Never actually saw a ballet or really understood what it was about. So I've had that experience, and I say it's worth doing at least once. It's a 2-hour ballet with an intermission, but it's all wall-to-wall Tchaikovsky music, although the first act has a story, which I found to be fairly interesting, but the second act is just like a series of performances, and that was less engaging, although all of the Tchaikovsky Christmas bangers come from that second act, so I can see why it keeps people's attention. Me, I was like, I want more about the Rat King.
In Nutcracker season, my husband has shown me on TikTok, he's a big TikTok guy, he was showing me that it's now a thing every year that the performers, the ballerinas who are in their like rat army outfits, they then like do sexy dances while in their rat outfits as like fun little TikTok. It's a fun, check it out on TikTok for yourself to see the rat performers twerking, I guess, among other things.
But yes, there was no bear in a little car, but there was a bear. So he did not have a little car.
Well, someday you'll finally get to see a true ballet then.
I've already seen ballet. This is my second ballet, and it's fine.
Last year, I watched a drag show with Jinx Monsoon and Della doing a parody of the Nutcracker. That's the closest I've seen to seeing the Nutcracker. It's mainly them doing a long musical review that parodies the Nutcracker beat for beat. So I learned the plot of the Nutcracker via that.
That's good. I mean, it wasn't blowing my mind. It was a very pleasant night of seeing the Nutcracker and sipping on some wine while I was doing so. But I feel like it's such an essential part of Christmas mythology. You should at least experience it once to understand, like, well, here's what this means, and that's what that signifies, and so on and so on. And that is it for me. So yes, a very successful year, recording 1,000 podcasts, playing 62 video games, and reading 50 books. And I only took 2 non-work trips. So that's why I had so much time to sit around and play video games.
That's why we were the inverse. I was playing fewer games, but too many trips.
You were playing 1,000 hours of Balatro on a plane.
Yes, Airplane Balatro. And of games I played this month, yes, I did play Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I'm still on the Despicable Game Pass, and it was a Game Pass game. And I would say you should not pay $30 for it, but if you can play it for free and liked Marvel Comics in the 90s or old school beat 'em ups, it's a good few hours. It's a good few hours. It's over in a few hours, and I wouldn't call it having much replayability either. But it's full of references that I got from reading tons of Marvel comic books, and it played like old beat 'em ups I like. So it gets a mid approval from me.
Would you say it's better or worse than the previous release by this developer, the Ninja Turtles beat 'em up?
Oh, yeah. Shredder's Revenge is better than this, I'd say. It's a better game, but Marvel Cosmic Invasion is full of more Marvel-specific fan service that pleased me. So as a fan service provider, I'd say Cosmic Invasion is better. Even to my husband, I was pointing out, like, oh, that's a reference to Mary Jane Watson's Secret Hospital soap opera she was on in the 90s. This achievement is because Nova defeats Annihilus in this comic, and that's why they made it an achievement. Stuff like that. You know, the game is an all right beat 'em up with gorgeous throwback graphics. I really do love how it looks. And a nice soundtrack. And yes, this was a year for Magic the Gathering for me. I was playing even some of the Avatar, The Last Airbender Magic the Gathering stuff, especially in the app. I prefer playing it in the app instead of having to be in person in front of somebody and get a rule wrong and feel stupid, but I'm getting more used to that feeling.
Does this mean you have stopped buying the cards? Or are you continuing with the card purchases for the future of you playing in person?
I have not bought any of the Avatar cards. My husband, he's bought a few Avatar cards, but
I mean, like in general, like buying
yeah.
the Final Fantasy and Spider-Man. Are you going to continue doing that? I've seen you bought the big boxes of them.
yes, yeah. For Spider-Man, I did it, and for FF, I did it. I will likely still go to pre-release events where buying cards is part of playing it for the next set, which is the Ninja Turtles gets a set in like March. So I'll be doing that, but no, I'm not going to be buying like $200 boxes of boosters and stuff at this point. No, I have very specific cards I would want to play. It's still been nice, but no, I'm going lighter on the cards next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm just curious about the app. So these exclusive cards exist within the app too?
Some do.
Okay.
It depends on who makes the deal with Magic, because the Marvel cards do not exist in there because the Magic app is a competitor to Marvel Snap, so Marvel characters can't be in it. And the funniest thing was for the Spider-Man cards, they just made up cards that are the Spider-Man cards in function and all of these things, but they're like outer space spiders, like magical outer space spiders who have all of the abilities. It's really weird.
So you also have to pay for these on the app too.
They come included. It's a giving app, I'll say. You can't pay for cosmetics, but with all the freebies, I have never paid for a card yet in it. I've earned it.
I'm just curious
for
because
playing.
Magic seems like I remember buying it in the 90s, but now it seems like, boy, you need a Magic budget for your household.
Yes, you do. And I often have told my husband, like, boy, that's a lot of Magic cards. But with the app, I swear it does not. Marvel Snap is asking for money way more than Magic the Gathering app does for me. But maybe if I was more into Magic the Gathering, and for me it is, once I have like 4 decks that I enjoy, which I was able to buy with just their free money things, and I don't want to buy cosmetics, then those 4 card decks are enough for me. And I haven't hit the level of engagement with it where I would spend money to have more cards in Magic the Gathering app. So that's been nice, as opposed to Marvel Snap, where I do still spend the occasional dollar to buy the new Fantastic Four cards, for instance.
Well, that's not bad. If you're getting some things in there.
And as for movies, other than Ella McCay, I'll just name a couple movies I saw in the theaters. Though after watching Ella McCay, I did watch Terms of Endearment and Defending Your Life, just so I could remind myself of like, oh yeah, this is them at their like peak. Both Albert Brooks is fine in Ella McCay, but Defending Your Life is like, I still love that movie. Like it really, the older you get, the better it is for you too, I think, that movie.
Yeah, I still need to get around to watching the James L. Brooks classics because I missed them outside of like, I saw As Good as It Gets because it was a big movie in the 90s, but I missed the bigger 80s ones.
In terms of Endearment, I don't think I'd seen it in full or without commercials on TV ever. So watching it on the 4K disc I have it's a PG movie where they say fuck over and over again in it, but I always remembered it as it's a cancer movie. But it's like the last 20% is a cancer movie. It's just a life movie about, in general, dysfunctional people in their lives kind of hurting their loved ones in funny ways. It's a great movie. And I also watched The Princess Bride, the Rob Reiner movie I watched the most in my life, and hadn't seen it in full in forever. It does feel like, oh yeah, I'm the little kid getting the story told to again. And also I kept when watching it with my husband, I was like, oh, I had that toy that's in the background of Fred Savage's room. I had that toy. I had Stinkor from He-Man.
Yeah, I guess his bedroom is a toy museum from like 1987 or whatever.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. His room has Christmas decorations in The Princess Bride. That's the only indication it's a Christmas movie. He could just be a weird kid who has like Santa decorations up in his room all year long. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is like secret holiday film.
And as for in theaters, I watched Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, which is both volumes together with minor edits. Mainly, the biggest addition is there's about 10 minutes of new animation in the anime section. You get to see O Renishi kill the one guy she doesn't kill, frustratingly, in the original one. You finally get to see how she killed that guy.
So I want to ask, is part 2 disappointing to you after immediately seeing part 1? Because it was to me. Without the weight.
Boy, watched together, I still do like it. I actually did like part 2 a lot with the wait, and I watched it so many times after the wait that I think it being so talky, like I will say in full viewing with just an intermission, I love all the speeches. I love that Bill gives so many speeches, and the actor portraying him is so good at giving speeches, David Carradine, but there's so many fucking speeches he gives. He goes like, well, this reminds me of like, oh my God, another speech by this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy the first film, but then when I saw the double feature and I saw the second film, I thought, well, this is probably better if you had to wait to see it. If your Kill Bill content was very low, not if you just saw the first movie for the first time and immediately rolled into the second movie, it's a way different experience.
Well, here's another positive I will give on it too, though, for its edit. If you plan on ever seeing Kill Bill and haven't yet, just skip ahead about 30 seconds to a minute here. They take out the tease at the end of Act 1 of the first half that her daughter is alive. You don't know that BB is alive until the bride learns it busting into the room. And I do think without that knowledge as a viewer, it makes that moment in Volume 2 hit much harder if you don't know. Let's say you didn't know and it was the first time you saw Kill Bill.
And the Fortnite short, how was that?
Ooh, rough. Not very good. Worst of all is that Tarantino, he says lines in it for Bill to say because David Carradine's dead, of course. So he does the Bill lines. And I'm like, oh, this sucks.
You know, I feel like if he wants people to still see his final movie, he should shut up.
Yes. Somebody on Letterboxd, I read, had the great point of like, he says he doesn't want to be one of those old directors who make shitty movies. And then he puts out that fucking Fortnite short. It's like, dude, you're already there, man.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure the dump truck full of money was enormous.
Certainly it was that. And it got Uma Thurman paid as well, like who, you know, they're friends again as well after he like kind of almost killed her and definitely gave her major neck trauma that I think probably still hurts to this day. Like they're buddies again, you know, it's crazy. It's still crazy also in Kill Bill that like that shot is in the movie. Like the thing they filmed of the car crash, it's in the movie. It cuts seconds before what you learn later in life is the car crash that injured her. And then he makes Death Proof as his next movie, which is about injuring her on a stunt.
He's kind of rubbing it in.
Yeah. Also in theaters, Bob, I saw the event of the year, Avatar, Fire and
Henry,
Ash.
this film, 3 hours and what, 400 minutes?
3 hours and 18 minutes. Yep.
Did you take a bathroom break and were you hospitalized afterwards?
I'm telling you, I'm good at holding it. I didn't even go until we got home. I didn't come out of the theater like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm not holding it to like feel pain or like that I get off on holding it. I really just didn't need to use the bathroom. I promise.
Now it sounds like you're dehydrated.
No. I drank a whole Topo Chico in a cup of water.
What's a Topo Chico? I back up, please.
You know, it's a seltzer, Topo Chico.
Topo Chico. No, I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's a long time brand of seltzer water. It's, I believe, from Mexico, I want to say.
Okay, I'm seeing this now. I've never heard of this before.
Oh, yeah. Topo Chico's great. I'm surprised you haven't heard. It's they're really, classically, it's sold in like a glass bottle, but now they have them in the aluminum cans to sell to the youngsters who, you know, want their sparkling water. It's really good. I had a blueberry Topo Chico with it. But now, look, this movie, I am sick of James Cameron making amazing action sequences starring blue people who suck and are boring. This is not as good as The Way of Water. I'll say that.
I don't think I can watch a movie this long that's not Schindler's List.
At times, it doesn't feel that long. Other times, it does feel that long. But sometimes there's great action or like a really cool chase. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. But then other times, too, I completely... So here's my experience seeing it in the theaters. I was also waiting for the Avengers teaser to come before it. I was like, oh, there's supposed to be an Avengers teaser. But for some reason, our theater didn't play it. It's a shitty teaser anyway. Who cares? Steven Rogers is back. Who cares? But when the movie begins, I keep thinking, no, maybe the movie hasn't started yet and the Avengers trailer is still to come. Because the first scene of the movie is like, it's two blue people flying around on their dragons. And it's at 48 frames a second. And I was sure of like, well, this must be like a trailer for the video game they're making, right? And like, no, I had forgotten that in the movie, action sequences often are done at 48 frames per second because that's how James Cameron likes it. And it looks, to me, like a cheap video game.
Yeah, I guess like that aesthetic is associated with a video game cutscene. Regardless of how good it looks, regardless of how well it's directed, that just it has the the grammar of a video game that you're playing in terms of the visual grammar.
When you see something moving at that frame rate in the movie theater, it looks like you're just watching a video game on the big screen. It makes the most expensive movie ever look like a video game. It's very distracting, but also it's funny that the hateful military space marine guy, Miles Quaritch, is the funniest and most interesting guy in the movie. And I'm like, boy, I want to see more of this guy instead of Jake Sully and his dumb family. And Spider. Ugh, Spider. Hate that kid. Builds the whole movie.
A lot of bad things about Spider these days.
They build the whole movie around Spider, and this kid sucks. He's a terrible actor. He's so lame.
How many more of these things do we have to see?
So... this was the other secret I didn't know. Technically, there's 2 more coming. What I learned from the blank check was, and it totally makes sense after seeing Fire and Ash. He wrote a second movie and then realized it was so long it had to be 2 movies. So 2 and 3 are technically 2 halves of one movie he originally envisioned, which isn't surprising because the ending of this movie is seriously a retread of the second movie's ending. I was looking at my husband and we both were like, wait, we saw this before. It's the same set piece, the same actors. It felt like DLC reusing assets.
That's a common criticism I'm hearing, is that he kind of just made the same movie again.
Yes, yeah, it's so strange. Also, Cameron did interviews saying, well, this might be the last one. I don't know. And that made me think there'd be some finality to it. I'm not going to spoil the ending of the movie, but it lacks that finality, I'll tell you that. Like, it just feels like another episode in the world of the Sullys. And lastly, things I saw this month, I want to say I watched Better Call Saul Season 1. I'm always 10 years behind on these. I'll be watching Pluribus in 2034, I think.
I was slightly behind on this. I watched all of it 2023 right before I moved. And yeah, stick with it. It's great. It's like, I don't know if it's better than Breaking Bad, but it goes to some Breaking Bad places, I will say.
I really love Season 1. It's full of great actors. I think I don't know, I can relate more to Jimmy than I can to Walter White, I think, watching it too. Like, I don't know, he's a more relatable guy. Maybe it's just because he loves movies and is constantly referencing movies. And I was surprised how many times, at least in Season 1, there were to talk in Twitter parlance, the surfing vampire looks at the surfboard. Like,
yes,
there's moments he's like, I'm not much of a ring guy. Or he looks at like a big orange button-up shirt and he's like, nah, I'm not going to wear that. I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
I feel like that does drop out. It's just there to like initially get Breaking Bad fans on board. Those kind of teases.
Okay, that's good to know. And I watched the first chunk of the new Stranger Things. It's fine. It's more Stranger Things. It's not bad. Some people were too negative on it, though. It's just, I'm watching adults play children. It's very distracting. That's the weirdest part of it.
Those kids grew up too fast.
They really did, but it's fine. I'll see it through to the end. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of Hideo Kojima, I watched an interview with the Duffer Brothers talking to Kojima at his studio. He gave him the scan, and Kojima really likes Stranger Things. It makes sense. It's 80s Carpenter stuff. It's what he loves to.
And he likes everything. If you follow him on Twitter, he likes every movie and every TV show.
That's true. Yeah. Just quickly, I did spend Thanksgiving in New York City. It was a great start to Christmas. Christmas in New York does feel magical. Oh, fuck, I haven't even posted. I took pictures at 4 different filming locations of Ghostbusters and didn't even post it yet. I got to post
Henry,
that.
your Instagram, there are tumbleweeds blowing through it.
I know, I forget.
Here's the thing. This is not a dig, by the way, but when I saw this and talked to the audience, I was thinking, wait, Henry didn't talk about New York yet? But then I realized that since you've been back, you've had at least like 2 New York anecdotes on every podcast we've recorded because you did so much.
Yes, yeah. I feel like I'm not bringing him up out of turn. I'm just like, no.
Well, it's Mr. New York.
I know. I did just come from there. It was really fun. I won't list everything I did and see, but I'll say that the Jim Henson exhibition that's in the Museum of the Moving Image really is great. It's full of stuff that wasn't even at the one we saw in San Francisco, the Frank Oz collection. It was really great, and I did, thanks to friend of the show, Mike Drucker, I got to see the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show, and thankfully it was one of the weeks he wasn't platforming somebody evil, so thank goodness for that.
I know you explored Jersey, Henry. Are all the jokes true?
Okay. A tiny bit. Everybody each other jokes about Jersey to each other, like, oh, you're from Bayonne, you never leave Bayonne. That's what they say, like stuff like that. I did have a little bit I went to a wedding, a very nice wedding, a friend of Darren's he'd known since childhood. It was such a great wedding. He had great food everywhere. But I get, it's a wedding. You get seated with people you don't know, including like the bridesmaid's mother. And she was talking to me with like a Jersey Italian accent, straight out of Sopranos, and I was feeling very, almost in a condescending way, like, isn't that cute? Wow, you have people actually talk like that. Whoa.
Was a Snooki there?
I didn't see a Snooki there, no.
Okay, you were safe then.
And I also did the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I will never do it again. 5 a.m.
Well, you have to explain what you mean by doing it. Were you in the parade?
Oh, no, I was able to get tickets for reserved seats at the start of the parade, so I wasn't having to stand the whole time. If I had to stand, I wouldn't have done it. So reserved Macy's seats, got hooked up by somebody, and me and my husband sat there, but it still meant we woke up at 5 a.m., got in line at 6 a.m., and thank goodness it wasn't raining. The sun was out, but we were freezing. Like I was shivering and going, there's Spider-Man. Yay.
Well, this Florida boy can't handle a New York November, boys. Let's get him.
They were tossing me out of like New York City. I wasn't ready. My husband multiple times was like, hey, this is New York. Like he grew up there. He knows it. But in the New Jersey area, he was like, we have to jaywalk. It's New York City. We have to. What are you waiting for? Come on, let's go.
We have to mug this guy. Look, he's not looking. Look at his phone. Just grab his wallet.
It was nice after the parade to then we then had a relaxed like little stroll for an hour or two through Central Park. That was very nice. And I also then I was like, oh, hey, look, that's the Tavern on the Green where Rick Moranis gets attacked by the dog. And there's the fountain where Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver meet each other. Like, yes, it was.
I was surprised there was no Ghostbusters headquarters shots. Unless you had done that before in the past.
There is a photo of that. I just haven't posted it yet. I keep forgetting.
Where are these photos?
You're just like J. Jonah Jameson asking for photos of my trip.
People are demanding these photos, Henry. It's been 6 weeks.
Keep an eye out. I'll post them. You know what? Year-end wrap-up kind of posting. That's a good time for these photos. But so, yes, I talked too much about... Oh, and Messy White Gaze, the Drew Droege one-act play that, if you can see it, that one's not getting all of the ads and promotion that it should. I saw other famous ones that don't need me promoting it, like Waiting for Godot. But Messy White Gaze by Drew Droege, who's friend of Drew Mackey. It was really good. It starred one of the actors from Dix the Musical. It was a great one-act play about being a annoying millennial gay white man in New York City. About 5 different of them.
What if I told you the tossing and turning all night and waking up sore could be the result of sleeping on the wrong pillow? Sounds too good to be true? Hear me out. Coop Sleep Goods pillows are designed for every type of sleeper. Side, back, stomach, and everything in between. They adjust to how you sleep, keeping you supported and comfortable all night. And right now, new customers get 20% off site-wide. From new parents navigating sleep schedules, to wellness-minded sleepers focused on recovery, to grandparents exploring new hobbies, Coop helps everyone sleep better and wake up actually feeling refreshed. There's a lot waiting for you tomorrow. Let Coop help you show up feeling rejuvenated and ready to go. Get 20% off your first order and try Coop risk-free with a 100-night sleep better guarantee at coopsleepgoods.com/comedypodcast. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedypodcast.
Well, now we can move on to questions and comments from the last round of episodes, and we'll start with Talking Simpsons, the episode Bart of Darkness. And Maverick says, I've seen all of Hardball, the sitcom created by Jeff Martin, and I still have the episodes on my hard drive. For a baseball sitcom from the early 90s, it is okay. Slightly worse than Coach, I think the biggest issue is that the cast is way too big to try to fit in every player. 9 players and at least 2 coaches with however many minor parts. That's a lot to write and show run, while Coach didn't focus on the team, really. Sometimes a QB or similar will get a few storylines or one-offs, but it's mostly just the 5 main characters. The first season of Coach holds up pretty well, I think, but when you compare it to Hardball strikes out. So thank you, Maverick, for your information about Hardball, which I believe premiered on the same night as Bart of Darkness.
Yeah, if it wasn't the right after, it was within the hour of it, yeah. To think about, I'm glad Maverick keeps Hardball on his hard drive. You know, if you make a sitcom about a sports team, I guess if it's 9, well, it should be even more than 9 players. Like, it's not just the 9 players who play their positions, but also, like, the backups, right? Like, whatever the term is in baseball, I don't know. The backups.
The losers. The bench warmers.
Yes, right? Well, Andrew O. also says about Bart of Darkness, I hated when shows looped back around to episode 1, but it was worse when it had continuity and wasn't finished yet. Nothing was more painful as a kid than going from mid-battle with the Ginyu Force on Namek to back on Earth with Raditz, especially when you know Goku was close to going Super Saiyan.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think those episodes were dubbed initially in like 1995 or something, and it wasn't until the year 2000 that they moved on past that point in the West.
Yeah, we did regular Dragon Ball. We still haven't done Dragon Ball Z. Maybe that's a 2026er I would like to do. But I remember that so well, Andrew, just like he does, of they go only so far in the Namek arc because that's how far I think the Ocean Group did it. And then it got popular on Toonami, but it took forever for a new deal to be made to dub more episodes. And it was treated as an event of, oh, Goku is finally going to get out of his healing chamber and fight the Ginyu Force. Finally.
It's taken so long. Meanwhile, the show had been over in Japan for like at least 5 years.
At least. You could see all of the merchandise with Super Saiyan Goku, but you're waiting forever to meet him.
I will say, going back to Coach, underrated show, and I think it innovated in the dumb guy space by having two dumb characters that were dumb in different ways.
Right, yeah. Dauber and Jerry
Luther.
Van Dyke, whatever his name was.
Dauber and Luther, dumb in
Luther.
different ways.
Right.
They complemented each other's dumbness, I think.
You know, Fagerbakke has been doing interviews lately to promote the new SpongeBob movie that just came out. I wonder if anybody's asked him Coach questions. I did see somebody ask him Gargoyles questions, and he instantly recalled, like, oh man, I'd love to play Broadway again. Greg Weisman is the best. Would he have that same recollection for Coach, I wonder?
I wonder. I think he enjoyed being on Coach.
Well,
There's a lot of Coach.
And he's not as concussed as his many dumb characters would have you believe on Fagerbakke.
That is true. I believe he's a brilliant man. Moving on to All's Fair in Oven War, and Covey M says, I'm glad you brought up the Iron Chef episode of Futurama because I have a completely useless fact relating to it. There's an episode of Kirby, right back at you, where Chef Kawasaki's old mentor comes to visit. They have a cooking competition, and it's revealed his mentor was spiking his dishes with hallucinogenic mushrooms to make the judges more susceptible to enjoying them, though I believe it was rewritten for the English version for censorship reasons. Obviously, that seems oddly familiar to the plot of Futurama, where the twist is that they were spiking the food with LSD to make it more delicious. And I will add, Bob Mackey here, check out Covey's comment for more shocking similarities between Kirby, right back at ya, and other Matt Groening projects.
Wow, man. Thank you, Covey. I watched 2 episodes tops of Right Back At You because I watched the first one when it debuted and learned that like Kirby is like a secondary character in his own show, and it made me not want to watch it. Like the kids are the stars of it.
The issue is he couldn't talk, so they needed to invent characters who talked around him. Now, speaking of Japanese media and their love of hallucinogenic mushrooms, there is no real drug culture in Japan, but they love the iconography and they're very playful about it. And I was just watching One Piece, and when Luffy lands on this Amazon island, he's hungry. So he sees these mushrooms growing. He's like, oh, I heard these mushrooms make you laugh. So he eats it. He gets high on mushrooms, essentially.
Right.
And then he eats some other mushrooms. They end up being parasitic. And he passes out. Mushrooms grow on him. The Amazon ladies find him, and they remove the mushrooms in the bath. They give him a bath. Now, at the gym, when I'm watching anime, I'm always worried if something pervy will happen. People will think I'm watching pornography. Well, this is a show for children. There is an extended scene that is, a lot of things are disguised by soap bubbles where the Amazons, they're cleaning Luffy, and they're like, wow, this one mushroom won't come off of his body, and let me try tugging on it. Now you tug on it. And it's like everyone's yanking on his penis.
Yes.
Thankfully, again, nothing is shown. I'm like sweating on the elliptical machine, looking around, making sure no one else is on the floor as a bunch of Amazon ladies are yanking on the main character's dick.
I guess it's also playing on that classic mythical fantasy of the Isle of Women who have never seen a penis before and don't know what it is kind of dealy. And
Sure.
well, Luffy as well is like, some people have said Luffy is asexual, but he has no real sexual response to this when it happens to him, right? He's just like, hey.
The leader of the Amazon, Hancock, I believe her name is, she can turn men into stone who fall in love with her, and it does not work on him because I think he's too stupid to be horny.
You know, that right back at you thing too, we should send that over to the real Jims because this is Futurama, not Simpsons, but he just did a new one of his series of like, is this The Simpsons Did It or The Simpsons ripping them off of the Skinner's Sense of Snow and a similar episode of Hey Arnold. So I wonder, like, he could also rate how similar this story is to the Futurama episode. Ian Stratton also says on that episode, Mickey Mantle's Feet of Clay, which I'll just say that Marge referred to that in the episode and it confused me. Mickey Mantle's feet of clay would be his severe alcoholism. He believed he was cursed to die young due to the untimely deaths of his father, grandfather, and uncles to cancer. This, along with sexual abuse by adults as a young boy, led Mantle into a self-destructive lifestyle of hard drinking and partying during his playing days. The press often downplayed his alcoholism back then, since he was an athletic idol to so many kids. It wasn't until the mid-90s when Mantle, now with a liver cirrhosis, began to be candid about his alcohol abuse. Addressing fans that looked up to him as a role model, he said, "Don't be like me."
Yeah, and Marge's line was, well, Lisa sets it up by saying, I'm worried you're going to win by cheating. And she goes, I'll be a hero with feet of clay like Mickey Mantle. That's where it all goes back to. But I knew he was a drunk, but I did not know what inspired the drinking.
Sadder part of that, I remember when he died just because, my parents were certainly affected by it. He gave an interview about it, to the Today Show. My mom was, really moved by because she's like, oh, he knew he was going to die when giving this interview, and he drank so much. It was shocking to them of now we've lived long enough to see some childhood heroes also be revealed to have problems. But as a kid, I experienced it through my mom and dad when Mickey Mantle died.
So up next, we have Lisa's rival, and Andrew Giachetti says, Bex is hand down one of the funniest characters on Duncanville, and I was totally thrown when I heard the voice without looking at the guest. That was Betsy Sidaro, by the way. She has this oddly specific devout Catholicism that makes her character feel so real. Honestly, there's a ton of oddly specific Catholicism on the show that's really funny, including the introduction, for some reason, of a turn-of-the-century Italian street kid who lives in a tenement and avoids a ghost because he regularly takes communion. It's honestly worth checking out if you're a Simpsons fan because the Simpsons DNA is very present. And thank you, Andrew. I assume this is probably on Disney Plus. I'm guessing. Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a Hulu show that's now on Disney Plus. I believe its last 4 episodes debuted on Hulu ignominiously. I watched a couple episodes ahead of having Betsy on, and who was great. Loved having her on. And that I was like, I should have given this show more of a chance. I watched some episodes in the first season, then it fell off. It is a good family sitcom from one of the top Simpsons guys teaming up with Amy Poehler, and Amy Poehler's playing 2 of the lead characters in it.
Yeah, it's very easy to watch now. It's unfortunately was kind of screwed by the network. So I guess there's at least 3 seasons of Duncanville now.
Yeah. I believe it's 30. I believe they got up to 36 eps, I think. And Betsy Sidaro plays a character who looks and sounds just like her. It's so cool that they're like, oh, you're so funny, Betsy. The character of Bex will just be you as a kid.
She could easily be on The Simpsons, just color that character yellow and send it on over to that production team.
She would be Jimbo's new best friend. She could be competing with Darla for his attention. And Mr. Snrub also says on that episode, upon this latest viewing, I wondered if Henry was as horrified as I was that Ralph tripped and damaged some vintage action figures still in their original packaging. Well, to answer your question, Mr. Straub, while I appreciate the niceness of keeping all of the boxes in place, I am more likely to take things out of their original packaging to display them properly in fun poses rather than appreciate them on the card.
I also wonder if I'm sure collectors would want the figures Ralph had, but I wonder if the resale market was as ravenous as it is today when it came to Star Wars in that time period.
Oh, no, I bet it was just like how you could get a lot of NES games for $1 at stores back then, right? Yeah.
I feel like more of a joke would be made about Ralph damaging the figures if the writers assumed that they were worth money.
Yeah, it would. I mean, just comic book guy, a couple years later, they'd have jokes about him crying at somebody taking something out of their original packaging. But I think they weren't aware of it yet. When I look around my room of toys, the few I've kept in the original packaging are the ones that I think wouldn't look as good outside of it, like the McBain and Troy McClure figures that Super 7 put out, which have amazing Bill Morrison art on them. Meanwhile, if they were out of the box, they wouldn't look as cool to me. So I think staying in the plastic wrap is part of the fun for me.
Yeah, sometimes the packaging is part of the presentation, and I can respect that. Moving on to Sleeping with the Enemy, and Citizen Meh says, I think the whole going out for cigarettes thing originates from Stephen King, whose father abandoned the family allegedly with that excuse. Now, I think that could have popularized the Citizen May, but I think dads were going out for cigarettes before cigarettes existed.
Yeah, before it was cigarettes, it would have been a hot toddy, perhaps?
They would have said cigarettes, and the mother would have been like, what is a cigarette? And the dad's like, see ya.
I don't know if I knew that was what happened with Stephen King growing up as well. I also forgot to mention in that episode, the extra funny bit with the going out for cigarettes was he was going out for cigarettes for Nelson. He was buying him cigarettes, not for himself.
I think dads eventually learn, I don't need an excuse. If I leave late enough, I'll just ghost my family.
And that just came around the same time we were just talking about how did the actor who played Frosty the Snowman have all these secret families? How can you even, it's hard enough having one family, I would think.
He needed a hobby. He needed a smartphone.
Also on Sleeping with the Enemy, Kay Hagberg says, It's heartwarming to know Henry was also a cut-up hot dog kid. Sorry, weird way to say that. I am quite picky, so my mom would cut up tofu dogs, vegetarian family, and put little toothpicks in them like samples at the grocery store so that I would eat them / anything. Just now realizing that was the origin story of my girl dinner, in quotes.
That's true. I didn't know both of you were inventing girl dinner in the late 80s.
I mean, it was really just, being picky, and as I learned later, undiagnosed autism spectrum probably, but just that I was like, well, no, a hot dog I was just thinking about this recently. I didn't eat cheeseburgers for the longest time because I was like, oh, but they have to have pickles on them, right? And that tastes gross to me. I didn't know you could ask for less things on a cheeseburger. Once I knew you could, then I started enjoying cheeseburgers because I wanted them plainer.
I guess, yeah, we have talked about this. You could not envision the idea of like removing items or asking for the items to be not put on the sandwich.
I mean, I thought I'd be called weird for not eating them correctly.
Kids famously hate pickles, which is why kids are stupid. Pickles are delicious.
I mean, I do think these are things I'm talking through these days, but yes, it comes down to if a thing was put in my plate and my dad said, this is the way it's supposed to be made, you're not allowed to change it because it's the wrong way to eat it, I was just like, well, I guess I won't eat it at all and didn't think it could be changed.
Well, the solution, Henry, I'm not a therapist. You need to go to where your dad lives and push him down the stairs. He's an old, frail man. We can cover it up. I've read lots of true crime stuff. We can figure it out. Off the podcast, of course.
This is parody now. If you hear it, my dad's condo, there was an accident.
Yeah, in Minecraft. Sure, I'm winking.
Yeah. I'm doing that via therapy these days, in a metaphorical sense, pushing him down the stairs.
In your mind, it's an endless staircase. It keeps rolling and rolling.
Though also, while I don't have a super varied diet, I am much more open in the foods that are safe foods to me now. I have worked on that.
Cool. And we're going to move on to What a Cartoon for December. It was the Tom Goes to the Mayor episode about Rats Off to Ya. And Dylan Sludge says, this was my show I watched at 3 a.m. one night and couldn't ever remember what it was. I was at a friend's house sleeping over at 12, and I was the only one awake to see the episode Base Fest, where Tom refuses to call the town damn anything but the darn. Language! So for years, it was just that weird white and blue people show with the guy who wouldn't say damn in my head. And yes, thank you, Dylan. I think that was the effect they wanted to have on you because we're not really channel surfing anymore. But if you flip past Tom Goes to the Mayor, you would go back and say, okay, what is this? And that would stick with you.
Having just watched the whole first season of Better Call Saul, it is so funny to remember, just a few years before he became Saul Goodman, he is the man the executive producer and co-star, co-writer of Tom Goes to the Mayor, doing silly things like Base Fest where he's the whiz going boom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom, boom, boom. Tyler M. also says about Tom Goes to the Mayor, I have lived such a blessed or pointless life that I have visited both Henry and Bob's current and hometown malls respectively. The latter was a go-to when my best friend got his license. When we would get bored, we'd often trek to Ohio. Boardman was just far enough to feel like we really were traveling somewhere. Speaking of short-lived kiosks, I remember mine having one that sold only Pogs during the height of the craze. I'm sure a few of those are still hiding somewhere at my parents' house.
Well, thank you for the Boardman report. Some people don't believe me when I talk about my hometown. Boardman is a suburb of Youngstown, by the way. So I'm glad we have these outside reports that really let people know what I'm saying is true.
When I was just reading it, they were like, Boardman, wait, Bob's from Youngstown. I forgot that is the childhood mall for you.
Yes. When I lived with my grandma, we lived in Boardman, and we were just talking about, my wife and I were talking about Arby's for some reason, and I pointed out the fact that, I lived right by the first Arby's, and it's no longer around. Arby's, despite the giant cowboy hat, Northeast Ohio, that's where it started.
Now, this year was when the famous Arby's in Hollywood closed. It stayed open for so long, and it closed it. Probably it's just going to be condos or something, I'd guess.
Nobody wants the meats anymore, and hey, I'm fine with that. Moving on to What a Cartoon Movie. The episode was all about Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special, and Blake R. says, I was one of the lucky few who was able to see the touring 35th anniversary screening of Big Adventure that featured a live appearance from Paul Rubens in early March of 2020. You can imagine what quickly came next that would cancel the remainder of this tour. He came to Dallas at what would be one of the final shows and was a special moment seeing the crowd respond with enthusiasm as Pee-wee made a long journey to our state, even clapping along during the deep in the heart of Texas moment. Rubens came out after the movie and sat down on a stool with a briefcase full of memorabilia and photos from the production, going through everything piece by piece. It was a deeply intimate conversation as everyone sat quietly and in awe, as if watching their favorite teacher doing a show and tell. In hindsight, it was very apparent that he was ill, and he spoke quietly and seemed tired, but he lit up sharing his memories of making the movie with all of us. Before he left, he even pretended that Mr. T was in the audience and asked the house lights to be brought up, bowing out with a "made you look" in the Pee-wee voice. So one last prank from Paul Rubens before leaving that night.
That sounds like a magical evening. Yeah, to get to see Rubens in person right before COVID lockdown, and you don't realize he'll never tour again. I would assume he never made public appearances after that, or if he did, very limited ones. Like when he passed away, he was certainly very busy on his Instagram and everything, but he was not, I don't think he was making many public appearances then.
Yeah, I really appreciate this very nice memory of Pee-wee, and I'm also happy to see that people were not confused by the Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special. They weren't saying, well, what is this? Who is Pee-wee? Because I feel like Pee-wee is like the Muppets, and you have to be 40 to understand what it is. And nobody younger than that is really on board. But I think like even if you weren't on board with the special initially, we were able to like gently lower you into the Pee-wee water.
I just saw that Jorma Taccone, who of The Lonely Island, who he played Pee-wee briefly in the Weird Al movie. He also, Weird Al did some concerts, and Jorma was there, he was there on stage dressed as Pee-wee again. And my husband was asking, like, so is he just Pee-wee now, or is this something he's doing regularly? Did he take the character over with Rubens' blessing?
He's absorbed part of Paul Rubens' soul.
At that performance, this was why I first heard about it. People are saying Weird Al just did a straight cover of Rage Against the Machine's Bulls on Parade. And they were saying, like, because it's just reality now. It's not a parody anymore. That's what people said. It was strange.
People were surprised by that. I actually have not heard the cover quite yet.
To see Weird Al singing about how the people who burn crosses are the ones who, like, are also cops, that was surprising to see. So Sean Ryan also says about Pee-wee in a comment about Bozo the Clown. Sometimes we'd get cheaper public domain cartoons like what Pee-wee's King of Cartoons would play, but there was a time when Bozo would play 5-minute chunks of Transformers episodes, and this was when that show was already currently airing. The most awkward part was when Bozo had to either set up or make some kind of commentary on the clip that had just played. Hoo boy, Optimus Prime sure looks like he is in trouble. You think Megatron was going to win this fight, huh, kids? I guess you'll have to wait until tomorrow for the next part to find out. Meanwhile, in his mind, his true reaction was undoubtedly akin to Krusty's, "What the hell was that?"
That poor man, that poor old clown.
You were the one who introduced me to that video of the early 80s Bob Bell Bozo talking about like an Atari game through his emphysema voice.
Trying to breathe while explaining a video game he does not have any context for, like what it is, what it does.
That was funny to see that one. Yeah, to just have general memories. I never saw a Bozo. The only cartoons I remember Chicago Bozo that I got to grow up watching play were either the terrible TV Popeye cartoons where he faced Brutus and the Sea Hag, or Rocky and Bullwinkles, which were much more welcome.
Never had a Bozo. That clown never got into my TV, thank God. And up next, we have Talking Futurama, Ghost in the Machines. And Tyler Rampley says, I'll second Bob's disgust of Cadbury eggs. Around Easter this year, I tried one for the first time in around 20 years, and the goo inside was so sickeningly sweet, one bite made my teeth hurt. So sweet, I couldn't even tell you what flavor it was supposed to have because it was just sugar slop. I had to throw the rest out and brush my teeth immediately. Well, thank you, Tyler. I thought that was a controversial statement, but no one clapped back at me. So maybe I'm on the right side of history.
Bob, you're being a gatekeeper about Cadbury eggs.
Do whatever you want with those foul little sugar bombs. Keep them away from me.
One a year is about what I'm good with these days. And Tyler compliments on a sentence having two different Simpsonisms in there. The goo inside and my teeth hurt. Got them
Feast
both
on the goo inside, correct.
Yes. One of my favorite commenter names, Mara the Demon, named after my favorite SMT demon.
A big dick on wheels.
Yes, a big dick on wheels. They never make cheap toys of him. I don't own any Mara the Demons because like a 3-inch recreation of Mara the Demon, but a 3-inch version of him, those are like $200 fucking dollars on eBay. Like I can't justify it as much as I love that green slimy dick.
You need to buy a little toy chariot and then buy like a very realistic dildo to place in it.
Well, sure. I guess for scale-wise, it's going to need the balls, though, too. And then what, I draw the mouth
Listen,
on it?
I don't want to get into it, but some of them do come with balls.
You're right. So, okay. It's got to be... Well, then, man, what size of a dick is Mara? He looks like a 3-incher to me, I'd say.
Sound off in the comments.
Okay, but anyway, Mara the Demon says... I am dubious of Matt Groening's origins of the suicide booth, as it pretty cleanly meshes with the suicide booths in Robert Chambers' weird horror masterpiece, The King in Yellow. Yes, he's the one referenced in Dark Souls and True Detective. The King in Yellow is a collection of short stories without much in common except vibes and the titular The King in Yellow. One of the stories describes an 1890s vision of a future city with subways and suicide booths. I figure someone on the Futurama staff has got to be pretty familiar with the work, as it's pretty well-known collection, and Futurama borrows heavily from Pulp Fiction. Maybe the Slug story contributed as well, but The King in Yellow has got to be there somewhere. It can be two things.
This year, I read the Alfred Bester book, The Demolished Man, the 1959 sci-fi novel. And literally, when the character wakes up in future New York City, the first thing he sees are suicide booths. So I feel like these guys were all on the same page, or perhaps Matt Groening was secretly inspired, but I don't know what 12-year-old Matt Groening was thinking.
I mean, that book would have come out when he was a kid, right? Like at the perfect time.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I guess the important note is that in the story about the Slug Planet, the suicide booths did not actually kill you. You slid down a tunnel and you became a slave, a slug slave.
Right. Which to me, I think I said on episode 2, sounds like Matt Groening was also like reinterpreting what he had seen in the Pinocchio film of the boys turned into donkeys who are then turned into slaves.
Oh, sure. That gave a lot of boomers weird nightmares. So it could be that too. But thank you for more suicide booth chat, Mara the Demon.
Now I know The King in Yellow came from like a specific book, and I've only heard of the reference in things like Dark Souls and True Detective.
I believe he's like a Demon Souls boss or something, but it's been a while. Anyways, moving on to Talking of the Hill. The episode was Rodeo Days, and Ian Stratton is here to let us know more about Barry Switzer. We had some questions like, what does this Hank joke mean? It's very fixed in that time period, and it's about football, so we're like, somebody else step in, and Ian Stratton, he stepped up. And he says, Barry Switzer was a controversial coach because while he did win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, many fans felt he inherited an already successful championship-winning team that only got worse the longer he coached. Unlike his predecessor, Jimmy Johnson, he was less of a strict disciplinarian, with several key players getting arrested and facing legal issues throughout the season. Barry Switzer himself got arrested for bringing a loaded gun to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. This rubbed many veteran Cowboys like Troy Aikman the wrong way, who felt the team underachieved under Switzer's leadership. Thank you, Ian. You have unlocked one joke from King of the Hill. I would not have any idea what Hank meant if not for you, so my hat is off to you.
Yeah, when we did that episode, we were able to look up enough that, like, Barry Switzer was the Cowboys coach at the time, but both of us were like, but wait, but he won a Super Bowl. Why would Hank hate him? So this is important context from Ian, so thank you very much there. Last comment on the episode is from a Fry's Jacket, saying, hearing the mention of Roy Rogers gave me flashbacks to the early aughts. We had one of them in my town, and my older brother, aunt, and 2 cousins worked there. A lot of memories going to pick him up and sitting in the car playing Pokemon Gold version, waiting for him to be done with his shift. I do remember they had something on the menu called the Gold Rush. It was roast beef with cheese, maybe some kind of sauce. Sounds simple, yes, but man, it was so good. Other things on the menu I do remember being good. It was almost like a buffet style in some ways, but I was only 11 and I haven't been to one since, so my memory is foggy. That Roy Rogers is now a Dunkin'.
And thank you, Fry's Jacket. I looked this up. Apparently, at least now, the Gold Rush is a chicken sandwich with bacon and cheese. 715 calories. That's a lot for a chicken sandwich, but I imagine it is delicious.
I mean, it's bacon on top of the chicken. Sounds pretty good. I was thinking of, there's the Elvis favorite, the Fool's Gold, which is even more, it's like a jar of peanut butter and jelly and bacon baked inside of I think an entire loaf of bread, basically.
Is it deep fried?
I believe it is deep fried.
Baking sounds too healthy for that.
Yes, you know what? Yes. So why would I think? I have to think that Elvis never ate something that wasn't fried at that time in his life. I think.
He had the power to have everything fried.
But yeah, that Roy Rogers thing, I remember too in the Roy Rogers comes up in the Paris is Burning documentary as a place a lot of the performers in it go to in New York City because it was easy to swipe food when you're a poor, homeless gay person.
Oh, I see.
Yes. In that buffet style he was describing.
So that life hack no longer exists because I think there's like 40 Roy Rogers left.
Yeah. Those gay drag performers are going to have to look elsewhere. That also him saying that it's now a Dunkin'. Walking around, I don't think there's any Dunkin' Donuts in my general area. This is the land of Starbucks. That's the coffee. But going to New York City, Dunkin' everywhere. And there's even some that were old enough that they were still being called Dunkin' Donuts, not just Dunkin'.
Yeah, I grew up with Dunkin' Donuts, and it's one of those things where I moved to California, and then we got a Dunkin' Donuts, and everyone was like freaking out, and I didn't understand, like, well, it's just Dunkin' Donuts. Same thing with like Chick-fil-A. I grew up with that in my area. And those started moving out west, and I was like, it's fine, and they're hateful, so you don't have to eat there.
It was the last great moment in fast food for me when Popeyes began the thing of like, oh, wait, we can just do the Chick-fil-A sandwich and people can eat at a normally evil fast food restaurant instead of like a specifically evil Chick-fil-A.
Yes. This is a dangerous comment to read because we started at 11. It's now 1:20, and we're awaiting lunch.
Yes.
At least I am.
No, yeah, it's lunchtime for me as well as soon as we're done with this. I don't think I'll make myself a gold rush. We'll see. Probably a frozen pizza. I got a nice California Pizza Kitchen branded frozen pizza in there.
Well, you're in Seattle now, Henry. You got to get the Seattle Pizza Kitchen.
You take the boy out of California, but you can't take the pizza out of him. I say that.
Best pizza on earth.
Yes, everybody. Man, that New York pizza, pretty good. Pretty good New York pizza. I'm jealous. So I went to Prince Street Pizza. That was one of my favorites there, which New Yorkers apparently don't like because it's square pizza. It's not a floppy folder like most New York pizza.
You're against the flop.
I like the flop fine. My husband, though, does make fun of me. He's like, you're supposed to fold it. I was like, I don't like the fold. I don't know. I'm weird like that. But Prince Street, big squares. And not in the New York locations, but in Chicago and LA, they have, as part of a promotion of the 30th anniversary of Home Alone, they became I believe it's called Little Nero's, the pizza chain that Kevin calls in Home Alone. They are rebranding as that for the Christmas season, and they're selling you the plain cheese pizza that Kevin orders from the movie.
Oh, nice. Well, I think we have to stop talking about food because I feel like I'm going to be swallowing mouthfuls of drool as I think about what awaits me after this podcast. But yeah, that is it for Talk to the Audience. We're ending on Talk About Drool. I just wanted to go over the year. I mean, I don't have any stats or anything or like our financial report or anything like that. That's boring. But I wanted to say, like, thank you to everybody for supporting us. We are now, I guess, currently in our 9th year of being on Patreon and Patreon supported. Of course, this is the 11th year of Talking Simpsons, and we're glad that you stuck with us for so long. And yeah, like, support is not going anywhere. People are still on board with the podcast. We still have a lot of great ideas, things to cover. I'm super optimistic about the next 11 years of the show, and I hope you are too. Just, I'm feeling like we're in a really good place. It is kind of like Survivor's Guild, and I know the year was tough for a lot of people. I don't look at the news anymore, to be fair. More than like 5 minutes at a time. So I do feel like, wow, things are great for the podcast. But outside of that, I understand that things can be a little rough, and we hope you're doing well out there and you're surviving.
Yeah, this was a great year, I think, for both of us and for the show. And in the middle of the year, getting to look back on our 10 years as a podcast really did put it all in perspective of like how this is, I think for both of us feel that this is like the best job we've ever had, and we still love doing it, and we love interacting with you listeners out there. And we've had so many great guests, new and old, this season too. Like, it was going through The Simpsons. It's now starting up season 6. It's been great to get back to season 6. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be doing next year and covering the same with topics on What a Cartoon. Like, it's been a great year too. Like, I took care of a tooth problem I had for a long time optionally, and also broke a bone and had that fixed that wasn't planned. But this was a lot of working on myself kind of year too. That it feels good. I feel like I'm in a better place mentally and physically than I was at the start of the year. It was a good year for that, I think.
Your aging hosts are all about maintaining their rapidly decaying bodies right now.
Yes, yeah. Soon you'll be hearing more stories about physical therapy. I'll be relating every story like, Homer eating this sandwich here reminds me of physical therapy for my wrist.
So that's still around the corner.
Yes, yeah. My first real meeting is on January 2nd. It's just been slowly. Let's hope it only takes a couple months of that. It's not going to be like, even weekly visits. It's It's more just like she's going to tell me like things to do during the week, and I'll listen to her. I promise. I'll be listening. But
Well, the good news is once we hit 10 years of self-employment, we can challenge any boss to a fight to the death. We will have that authority.
I know. It's like, as we've said many times, we have become unemployable elsewhere because we're too good. We know how to be treated and how to be paid.
After 10 years, I have gained all the powers of a manager.
It has really been a great year. And a big thank you to the people who have helped us this year, too, like our editors, including Jesse and Momika. Thank you very much. And our brand new theme song for Talking Simpsons this year by Miles Morcree. It's been great to have all this new music and all their experience helping us this year to make this podcast the best it's ever been, I want to say. I think we've been doing great, and I look forward to the next year.
Yeah, the new theme song. I know some people took a little to get used to that. Glad this essentially they have at this point, but that I love it, and it's stuck in my head, and it makes us feel like an even realer show. We're not just like stealing music and using music that people have never heard before from an arcade game that can be kind of shrill. We now have like our official own proprietary theme song, and I think it's like, wow, I don't know why we didn't do this earlier, but now it feels like this is an official show. It took 10 years.
It did feel like we were finally bridging from, it was Bob's suggestion first. I thank you for suggesting it, Bob, because it felt like our old theme song. I mean, I love that song from the Simpsons arcade, but that music was like, it was the way of making a video game podcast in 2007 of just like, I'll just use a video game music. Nobody will notice. Like, meanwhile, this feels like, no, we're a real podcast, and real podcasts pay people to write music for them to be their theme song. And that's what we did.
So happy that we're finally real boys in 2025. Real podcasting boys.
But Bob, I want to say thank you for another great year.
Oh, thanks to you, Henry, too. And everybody out there, thank you so much for supporting us and listening. And we will see you again next year for another episode of Talking Simpsons, and next month for another Talk to the Audience. And take care. We'll see you then.